Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
And good afternoon and welcome inside North Bay Memorial Gardens, where we are coming to you live for this afternoon's OHL matchup between the Sudbury Wolves and the North Bay Battalion. I am your host, Derek Lindemann. You are watching Battalion Hockey here on the Frontline. Today's pregame show is brought to you by...
The pregame show is brought to you by La Herda Imports, family owned and operated since 1995. Visit laherdaimports.com for more details.
The North Bay Battalion currently sitting atop of the Central Division, 2 points ahead of the Barrie Colts. The Battalion do have one game in hand, that being this afternoon's game. So down the stretch could be quite interesting as both teams try for that Central Division title. North Bay does have the leg up and control their own fate as they take on the Sudbury Wolves this afternoon. The Wolves coming in winners of their last 2 games. This is going to be the 8th and final match up between these two teams, with the Battalion holding a 6-1 edge in victories over that and have been victorious in the last 4 meetings between these two teams. I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome back into the broadcast this afternoon Ben Sargent. Ben, Sudbury Wolves come into town. They still have something to play for and a possibility this could be a first-round matchup.
Yeah, this is going to be a very big game for both these teams, as you talked about. The Battalion are now 2 points ahead of Barrie. Now, it gets kind of interesting with this. The Battalion have 4 games left. Next Sunday against Mississauga is going to be their final game. They play... they have a back-to-back next week, so they play Hamilton on Thursday, Niagara on Saturday, and then Mississauga back home to finish off their year. If they want to win their division, if they want to clinch second, they need to win 2 of those games. Thankfully for them, they do have Niagara left. We'll talk about Sudbury, how they're a little bit kind of injured, or they're missing quite a few players here this afternoon, but they need to find 2 wins. On the other side of that coin is Barrie only has 3 games left. One of those games against Kingston, one of those games against Ottawa, and if you're Barrie, you basically need to win every game and have the Battalion lose quite a few.
Well, that's the thing. North Bay needs 2 wins if Barrie runs runs the table, and Barry's game, Sudbury, Kingston, and Ottawa, so they'd have to win the remaining 3, and the Battalion would have to win 2 in order to clinch the title. So a lot still up in the air about that. Tonight there is no possibilities for clinching the Central Division title, so we'll put that weight off the table. And the exciting thing tonight is we're going to see probably the healthiest lineup we've seen in some time for the North Bay Battalion.
Yeah, it's very interesting. A very different lineup. We see, number one, we see Ethan Procession moving over to the third line on the left wing. He's going to be playing alongside of Wakely and Van Steetzl on that third line, which is, Romani on that third line, which is very kind of interesting. Jacob Terrian not in the lineup today. So we saw Justin Earl come back on that game on Thursday. So very interesting lineup, and I get the sense that Ryan Houlihan's kind of trying to change the lineups a little bit, maybe play with some stuff going into the playoffs. But yeah, a very different lineup that we're going to see here this afternoon.
Talking about that, Matvey Petrov was absent from the game Thursday, but is back in the lineup tonight for the Battalion. And that's interesting enough because that fourth line is made up of Arnsby between Van Steensel and Tarasevich. Yep. That could be quite the checking unit if Ryan Houlihan chooses to play so.
And we've seen that line before. Last Sunday against London, right? They were the ones we started it. Remember, we talked about this going right into it. What did they have to do? They had to be physical. And I honestly do think that very first shift set the tone for that game, was a big reason why the Battalion kind of ran over London a little bit, at least for 40 of the 60 minutes. And I think you're going to see it. I wouldn't be surprised if they're starting this game off either, and they're going to start the same way. But it's going to be a very interesting game here because, again, yes, Sudbury's missing, and we'll get to that. They're missing quite a few people, but it's Sudbury. You never know what's going to happen. They are 6-1 against them this year. This is the final of 8 games, but you can't take anything for granted, especially when we get this late into the season.
Yeah, so with Petrov back into the lineup, it will be Wyatt Kennedy that will be the odd man out on the back end, as they will be dressing only 6D to go along with the 12 forwards. Well, let's take a look at the goaltending matchup tonight, as that is our feature on the Players to Watch, as they are brought to you by Mike, the financial advisor.
Players to Watch is brought to you by Mike, the financial advisor. If you have financial questions, he has financial answers. On Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at MikeBFA.
Let's start with the Sudbury Wolves. Kevin Broussard getting the start, his third consecutive start for the Sudbury Wolves, winners of his last 2. Coming in tonight, making his 20th appearance with an extended record of 6 wins, 7 losses, an overtime loss, and 3 shootout losses, a .348 goals against average, and an .887 save percentage. Sudbury still trying to find that number 1 goaltender entering the playoffs.
Yeah, so the big number in this Players to Watch is the number 3. You talked about it. This is his 3rd straight start. He's playing really well. They're really kind of pushing him to be the starter in the playoffs. Remember, Sudbury's clinched the playoff spot at this point. They're right now 2 points behind. Mississauga and Hamilton were both tied. They're fighting, and this game is very important because they're fighting to see where they're going to be positioned in that bottom 3 right now in that standings.
Sudbury could almost get as high as 4th if they technically run the table with a little bit of help.
Yeah, and if you're North Bay, you want to play Sudbury because they played so well against them. But if you're Sudbury, you want to get up as high as possible. But going back to the goaltenders, Broussard, a great opportunity here as he's been playing well, as we've talked about. But he has a great opportunity in this to get the start in playoffs, and that would be a huge bump for, of course, they lost their main starting goaltender, Joe Ranger, earlier as they put him on waivers, and they've kind of been going back and forth with Krawchuk and Broussard as they picked up Broussard midseason, and I think this is going to give him a chance to, hey, can you be our starting goaltender for the first round? Because if you're Sudbury, you're kind of just trying to get into the playoffs. You have no expectations going to the playoffs. If they get out in the first round, if they it doesn't matter. But if they can find a goaltender who's hot, maybe make an upset, we'll see what happens.
At least push a series longer than 4 games. And getting the start for the North Bay Battalion tonight, Charlie Robertson, making his 19th appearance for the troops, coming in with his extended record, 9-6 with 1 shootout loss, a .321 goals against average, and .886 save percentage. 3 shutouts, 2 of those coming in his last 2 games.
Well, we talked about the number 3. He's going for his 3rd straight shutout, which has been absolutely insane. 7-game winning streak right now for the Battalion. And if you look at their last 5 games, they had 4 shutouts in those 5 games. And it was just absolutely insane with what they've been able to do on the goaltending. Now, obviously, DiVincentis having a bit of he had a decent game against Peterborough. Couldn't really do much on his end, but he did end up giving up 3 goals. And Robertson, again, even though those two shutouts came up against Oshawa and Niagara, not the strongest team. Again, he's getting a start against Sudbury, not the strongest team in the world. It's still very impressive. We talked about how his glove side that's what he was struggling with in that kind of month and a half, right around this CHL Prospects game where he had that slump, and he looked very strong in his last 2 games. So expect to see the same kind of thing coming into the game here today. Expect him to have a very strong start, but if the Battalion can play the same defensively they played against London, it's going to be kind of irrelevant, because Dom had a pretty easy time against London for the most part, and that's a great team. I think if they play the same defense, it's going to be – I don't think Robertson's going to get tested too much here this afternoon.
No, and I think the key to Charlie Robertson is he plays a lot off of confidence and off of momentum. He's got to make a couple saves early on, make those couple easy saves, get a touch of the puck early in the game and get things going, and he can just build off that momentum, and we'll see a solid game for Charlie Robertson. You talked about it in the pregame a lot. The Sudbury Wolves coming in with a lackluster lineup, a lot of key names out of the lineup. I'm just going to run down them quickly before we talk about them. As not in the lineup tonight for the Sudbury Wolves, you got Gerberly Toure out of the lineup, Nick DeGraza, Alec Farrand, Kieran Walton, Quentin Musty, and Ethan Lermont. A couple of those are some names to talk about.
Well, we talked about Quentin Musty. So Musty and Ferrand both out sick, so nothing big with that. Shouldn't miss any extended time. They're just sick right now. If the interesting ones are Larman and Toure, who are both currently suspended. Now, Larman's an interesting case. He's a guy who had a 6-game suspension, kind of roughing up the Mississauga goaltender. Then the shift he comes back, the first shift he has since coming back, he elbows a guy in the head for the Sioux and is now out for 8 games. So he's not doing his team any favors. So he's out for another 8 games, but those 8 games do not count the playoffs. So if the playoffs happen, he's still eligible for game 1, but he will be going into next season. That will just carry over from there.
Kind of weird how they can stipulate that in a suspension. Usually it's consecutive games, even if they are playoffs versus regular season, so it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. We talked about the start for Charlie Robertson. We've seen the Battalion coming out with some hot starts of late, scoring the first goals in the last couple of games. How important is it for the Battalion to get out to that start again tonight this afternoon against the Wolves?
Yeah, and that's going to be, like, as you said, it's all about how they start games, and we've seen this in the last month and I would say right after the Christmas break till about March, where we've seen a kind of team that comes out very, very flat. They don't play well. They don't play well for the first 30 minutes of the hockey game. Then they turn on the Jets, and they were able to do that. They had an amazing January, and a lot of that had to do, they were playing some weaker teams, but they ran into trouble against the Mississaugas and the Hamiltons. And even though Sudbury's missing a bunch of guys, don't think, this, again, we talked about how important this game is. They're going to be coming out with a little bit of a fire underneath them. It's going to be so important for them to come out firing in that first shift, in that first period. If they can dominate, this should be a game for the Battalion. This is a game that they want to dominate from the first drop of the puck all the way to the end of this hockey game.
Yeah, and a couple players that are filling in tonight for the Sudbury Wolves are players that we had the opportunity, Matt and myself, to watch last night, and Ben Long down in Powassan as they got a couple call-ups from their farm team, the Espanola Paper Kings, especially in the names Jack Lyons, who was our player to watch last night for the Paper Kings, and also Blake Peters-Davy, 2 players that were in town last night, went home and came back tonight to get in the lineup for the Sudbury Wolves.
Yeah, that's one heck of a drive, right? You go all the way home, you think hey, we're done, right? Especially it being kind of like the last kind of foray of the NOJHL season, and then the next thing you know, they're coming right back to North Bay. Thankfully, it's only about an hour and a half away. Maybe 45 minutes the way you drive, I don't know. But either way, they come back here, and it's they're going to get some action. How much are they going to get? I don't know. Are they going to be playing 4 or 5 minutes today? Are they going to get maybe more? We'll have to keep an eye on that, but I expect them to be a little bit in this game, but I don't think they're going to be a huge, obviously being call-ups. Expect them to get maybe 4 or 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops in this game. Battalion
on a 7-game winning streak. I know you're not looking much in the rearview mirror at how the other teams are doing, but 7-game winning streak, you kind of expect your team to pull a little bit away from your nearest competitors, such as the Barrie Colts. But the Barrie Colts, 6-0-1 over that same stretch. You've only basically picked up 1 point over 7 games. That's got to be heartfelt for the North Bay Battalion.
Yeah, and you got to give a lot of credit to the Barrie Colts. They came in, they played really well against London, right? Like, you have to give the Colts are playing a really good game, and I think that's why it's so crucial for the Battalion to get that second spot. If they face each other in the playoffs, you want that home ice advantage. They can't do anything about the Ottawa situation, obviously. They kind of let that one slip through their hands over the last few weeks. But if you're the Battalion, the more you have home ice, especially with how good they play in this building, the better. And I think when you talk about Barrie, who's also very hot right now, like, if you're the Battalion, you're hoping you end this season on in the next 4 games on like an 11-game win streak. That'd be an amazing way to go into the postseason. But Barrie's just as hot, and if they face each other in like a second, third round, finals kind of situation, you want to be able to use that momentum, and it would be a very good season, a very good series.
Yeah, Ottawa 67s with their victory last night clinched the top spot in the OHL this year, as the North Bay Battalion cannot catch them in these standings, but a lot at stake as the Battalion is still looking for their second consecutive Central Division title. It's not going to come this afternoon, as they're 2 points ahead now of the Barrie Colts. Need another 4 points if the Barrie Colts can run the table to win the Central Division. You can't look ahead past tonight, as you know. In the future, you still have Niagara and Hamilton and Mississauga. Yeah. Still, you got to take the work at hand. And even so, you can't look at who's in the lineup and who's not for the Sudbury Wolves. Yeah. You got to continue playing at that elite level hockey that you have for the last 7 games, especially in that 4-0 defeat over the London Knights. You got to come out expecting to play that style of hockey every game.
Yeah, and it's interesting too. If you look at the bottom, it's Sudbury, Hamilton, Mississauga. Who did the Battalion play in the next 3 or 4 games? Sudbury, Hamilton, Mississauga. So in a way, the Battalion kind of have fate in their own hands on who they potentially could face in that first round. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'd much rather see Sudbury than see Hamilton or Mississauga with the way that they played them in the last little bit. I do think that Sudbury is the weaker of those 3 teams, but they're not a pushover either. So it's going to be a very interesting game, but it all starts, as you said, win here today, hopefully win against Hamilton on Thursday, lock up that lost spot, and then from there, if you want to give guys rest, if you want to maybe give Dom a little bit of rest as well. As you can see, that's kind of what they're doing in this game here. Going into the playoffs, you have that opportunity as well.
I know we touched on how important the start is for the North Bay Battalion. First period is going to be big for the Sudbury Wolves. Yeah. If you're expecting to compete in this game, what has to happen in the first period for the Wolves to come out and make it a successful first 20 minutes?
So I think it's going to have to be momentum. The Wolves can't have the Battalion pressuring them the whole time in this hockey game. They can't be getting outshot. They can't be getting outchanced in the scoring opportunities. They need to put some pressure, and they need to keep this game close. If the Battalion end up scoring a goal, keep this a 1-2-0 game. Don't let it get out of hand. Don't let them score 3 or 4 in the first period. It's going to be a lot on how Brassard comes out, but it's all about the pressure. They've got to come out aggressive, and they've just got to play, because they've got nothing to lose at this point. They've already clinched 8th place, but they've got to come out firing.
Yeah, both teams already assured of a playoff berth, which will get underway in just under 2 weeks' time, as the playoffs set to start at the end of March. Not sure. We know North Bay will be at home. We don't know where or who they'll be playing against, as they still sit currently second in the Eastern Conference, 2 points ahead of the Barrie Colts, as we get set for the 4th final regular season matchup. But this is the final matchup between the Sudbury Wolves and the North Bay Battalion, as they will conclude an 8-game rival set here between the two Highway 17 rivals. It's the Battalion leading currently 6-1, but nothing matters more than what's at stake tonight, as both teams trying to etch their spot further in the standings in the playoffs. When we return, Matt Sucrum will join Ben Sargent with the call of the first period, as you are watching Wolves Battalion here on the front line.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
In what could be a preview of the first round of the OHL playoffs, it's the North Bay Battalion and the Sudbury Wolves on the ice today as the North Bay Battalion look to extend their winning streak to 8 games. The Sudbury Wolves trying to make it 3 in a row, and Sudbury has played pretty well this month, but so has the North Bay Battalion, undefeated in the month of March. And Ben, like we said, it could be a preview of the first round series in the OHL playoffs. These two teams have never met in the OHL playoffs since the Battalion moved north.
Wow, that's a crazy stat. Like, when you think about that, the fact that this is such a big rivalry and they've never played in the playoffs together, that is such a crazy stat to kind of hear out loud.
The last time the Battalion and the Wolves played in the playoffs was the final year in Brampton.
Wow.
And Sudbury won in 5 games. So,
well, we talked about how the Battalion kind of have their own fate in their own hands, because when you look at the bottom of that lineup, as I said in the pregame show, it's Sudbury, Hamilton, Mississauga, and who does the Battalion play? And then 3 of their next 4 games, Sudbury, Hamilton, Mississauga. So if they end up winning against all 3 of those games, there is a chance that could also affect them. And I think they want to play Sudbury out of those 3 teams with the way that they've kind of dominated Sudbury this year.
absolutely. Puck is dropped. We're underway, and right off the drop of the face-off, the puck goes off the post on Charlie Robertson as McCallum had a chance wide open trying to get the puck off a turnover behind the net, and that would have been quite the start for the Wolves here.
Well, we talked about Charlie Robertson having a very tough month-and-a-half stretch, give or take. Back-to-back shutouts against Oshawa Niagara, a chance to get his 3rd straight here. And, getting himself a touch early on is always big.
North Bay win the draw. They move it out through the neutral zone, but it goes off a stick, and it's caught by, looked like Yearwood, and then brought down in the neutral zone. Zito steals it and sends it into the Sudbury end. Along the end boards, the Wolves take control of the puck, and Konyan moves it out. Yearwood. Down the middle, takes a shot, goes off the glove of Robertson and deflected off the end boards and then sent out of the zone by the Battalion as McDonald has it on the far side in the neutral zone. It's knocked away from him, picked up by Nelson. He moves it down the left wing for Bloom. Bloom gets the shot in just wide of the net, and picking it up is the captain Arnsby. Centers it to Tarasevich, and he fires it wide. Picked up at the blue line by Hislop. Sends it to the corner for Arnsby. Back to the middle. Tarasevich with a shot. That gets blocked, and then a second attempt at it gets through, but it easily and slowly slides to the goaltender Brassard, and he covers it up for the stoppage in play.
Well, we talked about Larman being out again for suspension. Toure, another guy who's out for another suspension as well. We don't, according to our sources at least, that we know, misconduct was technically what it was called against when they played. But basically what happened was he might have spit in someone's face is kind of the story that's going around.
Yikes.
And, so he's out for about 6 games. That was in their game against Barrie. So not a good look if you're Sudbury. 2 big guys out of the lineup, both of them for kind of foolish suspensions.
So that just means the call-ups have to step in and fill those boots if they can. 18:36 to go in the first period. The Battalion dumped the puck back into the Sudbury zone, picked up behind the net by Chromiak. It goes into the far side corner. The Battalion trying to regain possession. It's chipped off the boards and out to the neutral zone. Dumped in towards Robertson, and he steers it away in the far side corner for Brzezowski. Brzezowski sends it around to the near side for Winslow. He gets it up to Petrov down the left wing. Over the blue line, finds Jackson to the right side. Shot coming in, and that just goes wide. The shot from Justin Ertl, who's back into the lineup. He played in the game last week, or earlier this week as well, and then Ertl's got a chance right on net. Tries to dangle around the goaltender, but his backhanded shot is stopped. I don't know if it went wide of the net or if Brassard got a piece of it while he was falling down on the ice. Play continues now into the neutral zone as Arnsby comes back over the blue line, drops it back to Tarasevich. Tarasevich tried to play it across the blue line to Lukin, poked away from his stick, and Lukin chases it down into the neutral zone and behind his own blue line finds Nelson. Sends it up ahead to Arnsby, who finds Van Steensel coming in on the left wing side. Van Steensel stops, plays it behind the net for Tarasevich. Tarasevich trying to get away from a couple of defenders in the Sudbury zone, but he lost the puck in the process, and it's flipped out to the neutral zone. Sudbury coming back in. They dump it in towards Robertson. He's out of his net to play it behind the net, sends it down the right wing for Arnsby, and he will dump it out of the zone. Very quickly, Mania has it for the Wolves. Gets it up to McCallum. McCallum in the slot. Tried to get a shot fanned on it. Recovers the puck at the side of the net. Sends it to the point. Cross to the far side. Controlling it there is Anania. Anania's shot gets blocked. It goes out to the blue line. Procession battling McCallum for it. They move deeper in the zone. The puck goes around the end boards. Finds its way to Nelson on the far side, and he gets it out to the neutral zone. That is where Anania takes over, but then he turns it over, and it's Romani coming in. 3-on-1. Pass the possession back to Romani, and he sends it just wide from the side of the net. A nice little give and go there, but I think those guys had more time than they imagined they had before giving the shot up. 16:25 to go in the first period. Still no score. Just one shot apiece on the board so far. And the puck is chased down the ice by Brustowski. He gets it out of the zone. But here come the Wolves, who get control of the puck in the neutral zone. Goyette down the right wing side. Stops at the half board, sends it to the line. Shot coming in, deflected wide. Goyette tried to get it back. Stolen away by Zito. Gets it down the left wing for Bloom. Bloom touches it, but it's behind the red line. And so the Wolves will get the benefit of the icing call there. 15:56 to go in the first. No score.
Well, Justin Earl, who missed quite a bit of time, I believe it was over a month with a hand injury, came back, and obviously that game against Thursday against Peterborough kind of got jumped a little bit by Chase Stillman of the Petes. Someone ended up getting actually a one-game suspension for that game, so he's not eligible to come back until the 19th. So today is his first day of eligibility for him. But kind of interesting, as Earl was kind of jumped a little bit in that game, and Ray coming off a hand injury is not something you want to see. We saw that with Brustowski getting into a fight the day after coming back from a hand injury.
That's just sometimes teams doing their scouting on their opposition. See if the guy is actually 100% healthy into the lineup.
Looked very good in that first shift, though.
Play underway as North Bay bring it out of their own zone off the draw from the icing call. McDonald over the blue line, lost the puck. Goyette gets it. He turns it back over, and McDonald has it again in the neutral zone. Flips it to the far side to Zito. Zito pushes it over the line looking for Bloom. Bloom pushes it to the far side boards. Can't control it as Sudbury have possession, and they've got control of it behind their own net. That's Nolan Collins with it. He sends it down the right wing side for Villeneuve. He sends it into the North Bay zone. It's around to the far side corner. Villeneuve battles Christopoulos there. And off that battle, the puck comes free, and North Bay are able to clear it. That's Petrov with the puck in the neutral zone with 14:50 to play in the first. Petrov turns it over, and now it's Boudreau going the other way. Drops it back to the right side. Villeneuve tried to feed it back in the middle, but getting tied up in the middle was Morrow. As Paul Christopoulos did a great job defensively to block him from getting a shot off. Now Petrov over the blue line, drops it to Erdl, the shot coming in. And that's a good stop there in front of the net by Villeneuve, blocking that shot. The puck comes to the point, goes to the right side. Still in control are the Battalion on the half boards, flipping it back into the corner. That's Jackson there for North Bay. He's trying to push it around the end boards. It comes to the left wing side for Lukin. He will carry it down below the goal line, sends it to the right side corner for Jackson. Back to Lukin behind the net, centers it to Erdl. He was right on the doorstep but couldn't get the shot off. Just not in a great shooting position when he received the puck. And the Wolves are able to get the puck away from him and send it back down the ice. 13:50 to play as North Bay will bring it right back in. It's Nelson with speed going in on the right side. The shot goes wide of the net. Lukin will recover the puck in the neutral zone. Dropping back all the way to his own blue line. Now going in towards his own goal line. Weekly gives it up to the near side. Lines is out there battling in the corner for it. Lines is one of the call-ups in tonight's game. He played last night in Powassan for the Espanola Paper Kings against the Voodoos, but he can't control the puck as it gets flipped around out to the neutral zone and dumped into the Sudbury end by North Bay. On the left side boards, it's Tarasevic into the corner for Van Steensel. He plays it back to the point for Winslow. Across to the right side, controlling it there, Brustowski. Plays it down low for Tarasevic, still on the right side. Tarasevic plays it to the boards to Arnsby. His pass through the zone is blocked by Coughlin, and he gets it out to the neutral zone, down the left wing. Here come the Wolves towards the slot. On the back check, Arnsby breaking up the play. Nice little move there by the Battalion captain to make sure Sudbury can't get a shot off. And now North Bay are able to clear the puck. 12:45 to play in the first period. Still no score, just one shot apiece from either team. Winslow with control behind his own blue line. Sends it down the left wing. Can't get to Procession. And the puck is going the other way again. On the right side boards, it's Bratowski there who knocks Konyan away from the puck. Gets the puck up ahead to Procession. He feeds it to Romani in the neutral zone. Romani now over the blue line, lost control of it, going towards the net, but at the line, Wakely gets it back for North Bay, sends it to the left side boards for Romani. He sends it to the corner for Procession, who finds Wakely behind the net. He plays it back to left side boards for Procession. Now it's Wakely in the middle. Wakely's pass goes off a skate, deflects right towards the goaltender Broussard, and he covers it up for the stoppage and play. 12:04 remaining in the first. No score.
Yeah, and this is kind of an interesting start defensively for both teams as they're very different. the biggest thing is the amount of space that each team is giving up in the defensive zone. And what I mean by that is the Battalion, when the Sudbury Wolves are carrying the puck into the zone, do not give them a lot of opportunities to carry the puck. When you look at the way that the Battalion are carrying the puck into the Sudbury zone, there's a lot of open ice there. The defensemen are kind of coming all the way back to their own hash marks. They're giving up a lot of opportunities to make some great passes. And that top line of Jackson, Ertl, and Petrov have had a lot of really good chances to score in the opening 8 minutes.
Off the draw, there's a scramble on the doorstep. Everybody looking for it among some skates, and it finally gets kicked away to the far side boards, and Sudbury controls it. They carry it behind the net, and now they try to clear it. Hislop blocked it initially, but then off that block, it gets deflected off his stick and out of play into the stands. 11:48 to go in the first period. There is no score. Donald Wakely was the first of now 3 Battalion players to hit the 30-goal mark this season, and he's the guest on this week's episode of the Frontline Podcast. You can hear host Courtney Kenny alongside Ben Sargent speak to Wakely and the team's equipment manager, Mackenzie Campbell. That's available wherever you get your favorite podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe.
That was a really good conversation, too, with both Wakely and Campbell. As we also kind of went over who the most prima donna player is. Who's the I shouldn't say prima donna, but who definitely needs the most attention.
Excellent.
And I'm sure you could probably think of who it is. It's definitely not the guys between the pipes.
For the answer, go ahead and download that again wherever you get your favorite podcast. Playback underway as Sudbury dump it into the North Bay zone. Now it's played out quickly as McDonald sends it up ahead to Bloom, in behind the defense, in on the breakaway, the backhand shot, they score! Bloom pushes it just over the blue line. And the Battalion take the 1-0 lead on Josh Bloom's 29th goal of the season.
Well, Bloom was so good when he came over back in November and just hasn't hit those same strides, but this is a perfect example of we get to see his speed, and on top of that, this is one that just barely squeaks over the line as it gets through the 5-hole of Broussard, and a great start for the Battalion here as they take a 1-0 lead. And if you're the Wolves, you played a decent 9 minutes so far. You haven't let this game get too far out of the control, but it's getting to a point right now where you can tell the Battalion are just using their speed, and they're just kind of going right through the defense right now of the Sudbury Wolves, and Bloom puts the Battalion up 1-0, which is a great start for North Bay in the first 9 minutes.
Josh Bloom has had a lot of success against the Sudbury Wolves this season. This is his 9th game against them this year. He's played in 7 games with the Battalion. He played in 1 game with Saginaw against the Sudbury Wolves, and he has 5 goals and 7 points going into today's game against Sudbury, so make that 6 goals now for Josh Bloom head-to-head. Jackson over the blue line as play resumes. He takes a shot. It's off the body of Broussard, and it's pushed into the near side corner. Sudbury tried to clear it. Winslow kept it in briefly at the line, but now it does skip past him, and it's out to the neutral zone. Brutowski is there. Shoots it right back in. And the play continues in the far side corner. Shot right back out by Sudbury, though. Winslow with it in the neutral zone for North Bay. He dumps it in down the left side boards. Ricocheted all the way around to the far side as Jackson is there and now trying to get control of the puck behind the net. It comes out in front. There's a chance as Broussard is down, but it just gets lifted high.
Again, that top line getting a lot of great opportunities. It's kind of hard to imagine that they haven't found the back of the net at this point.
Turnover in the neutral zone. Jackson with control for North Bay. Gets it up ahead to Petrov. Petrov on the left side boards. Finds Ertl. Ertl tried to feed it back up ahead to Petrov, but that got blocked, and now McCallum goes the other way for the Wolves. He gets over the blue line, being pressured by Petrov. He skates to the far side boards. Now to the circle. Plays it in the middle. Arnsby breaks up the play and sends it down the right wing for Ertl out of the neutral zone. Over the red line, flips it to Hislop, in on the breakaway. Hislop drops it back for Arnsby, but it's just out of his reach. Hislop, the defender, with 1 goal all season, maybe should have taken the shot there.
He definitely should have taken that opportunity, but you could tell he wasn't. He thought that Arnsby was a little bit closer than he was, and gave up a kind of great scoring opportunity.
9:30 to play as play continues here. It will be sent down the ice. Icing will be called, and we will take the break. North Bay lead 1-0 halfway through the first period.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni First. Get information on special events and news or access the alumni job portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
And always happy to be joined by Derek downstairs halfway through our periods here. And Derek, Braden Hislop with a golden offensive opportunity, mostly because Liam Arsby has had a couple of really good defensive plays. Gotta love seeing that from the captain.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want from a captain such as Arsby. He set that example in the defensive zone, allowing Hislop to join up on that rush. I want to see Hislop take that shot and not drop that back to a follower. That shot was a glorious opportunity, but what a big, important goal that was by Josh Bloom. Not only just for the team, but to get a little bit of confidence back. We haven't seen that jump in Bloom's step in some time, and it was really nice to see him get that opener here tonight for the Battalion, Matt.
Absolutely, Derek, and yeah, I've been impressed by the defense as a whole for this team over the last, well, really over the last 7-game win streak. It's just there was a switch that got flipped, and it hasn't turned off.
Yeah, the defense has been very, very strong, and that was the biggest thing I think when we saw against London.
And Nelson takes the shot off the draw, and it's stopped by Broussard. But you're right, especially going up against a team like London, that was a real kind of early playoff test, I think.
Yeah, especially when you consider that this team, again, this team's pushing for basically the OHL finals and beyond at this point. If they get anything, I think, less than a Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, it's kind of a disappointment for the season, especially considering their window is starting to close a little bit with the amount of overagers and the guys that they're going to lose. So it's going to be a very important playoffs for this team. And for them coming in hot like they are right now, and if they can finish the season strong, that's going to be such a big key for confidence.
Hislop off the draw, takes a shot that time from well out, but it misses wide, and now there's a chance in front of the net, near the side, and Tarasevich gets stopped again, point blank by Broussard. Tarasevich has also had a couple of opportunities early on in this game. Play stays alive, and Stiesel to Tarasevich, walking out in front, and he gets stopped again. Puck goes to the far side boards. Christopoulos sends it across the blue line. Nobody there for North Bay as Hislop and Arnsby backtracked. Arnsby's playing like a third defenseman out there tonight. Here he comes over the blue line, drops it into the middle. It gets to the point to Christopoulos. Christopoulos spin move, walking in. The shot goes high as it deflected off the stick of Mania. 8:41 to play. North Bay ahead 1-0.
You got to give a lot of credit to Kevin Broussard. He's really kept the Wolves in this hockey game so far. The Sudbury's defense is doing a terrible job. When you're giving Hislop and Christopoulos great looks, and I'm not just talking point shots, I'm talking like high slot shots, you know that there's something wrong. And the issue is right now, all of their players seem to be on the weak side of the puck. Whenever there's the puck's on one side, there's only one Wolf around for the defense, and that's something that's really, you can see the holes a lot so far in this first period.
Now the Wolves have clinched a playoff spot, so they too looking for a little bit of defensive improvement as they head into the postseason. It's North Bay heading into the Sudbury zone again. Into the corner, Nelson to the middle, Wakely shot on net, right at the chest of Broussard, and he holds on to it for a stoppage and play with 8:15 to go in the first period. 1-0 the score. And again, this could be a first round playoff matchup, and you got to think that the North Bay Battalion would welcome that opportunity.
Yeah, when you look at the fact that they're in line to play Sudbury, but the one team that really surprises me is Kingston. The fact that Kingston right now is outside of a playoff spot. When we last saw them, they were right in that middle of the pack. Just looking at the standings now, to see Kingston missing to Oshawa right now is absolutely crazy. They're 1 point behind them.
Icing called against the Wolves, so they'll bring the puck all the way back down the ice. And I think it's pretty wild that the Sudbury Wolves actually still have a chance to move up at least 2 spots.
They could be playing Peterborough.
They could be in that 4-5 matchup, right?
Yep, and I think if you're Sudbury, that's where you want to be. You do not want to play North Bay. You don't want to play Barrie. If you want to get past that first round, I think that 5th spot is. That's why today is such an important game, and right now you're just not seeing it from Sudbury as they're being outshot 10-1, and it's really showing.
A lot of that, though, probably due to the fact that they've got quite a few call-ups, and I mean, when they're missing a couple of their top scorers as well. Here they come, though, off the draw. They bring it in the zone. Villeneuve with a shot in on net, and it's a glove save made by the goaltender Robertson. And I know you and Derek touched on it in the pregame, but I mean, when a guy like Quentin Musty is in the lineup, who has put up 73 points so far this season, that's a big miss.
Yeah, and it's, again, the guys who are like the Larmans and the Touret's, not a big deal, but yeah, as you said, Quentin Musty, as he's been really good. He scored when they last played here in this building. He had a really nice goal on Dom, but even early on, only 2 shots on Charlie, and that's what I said kind of going into this game, is it could be an easy day for Charlie Robertson, and so far, if you look at the Battalion defensively, they've kind of proven me right.
7:35 to go as North Bay dumps the puck into the Sudbury zone. The Wolves bring it out, send it down the ice. It's touched in the neutral zone, so no icing called here. It's flipped around to the far side corner. Hislop has it for North Bay, gets it up quickly into the zone to Christopoulos, out to the neutral zone to McDonald, down the right wing, gets it over the blue line for Bloom, but then his pass back to the boards is blocked, and Sudbury bring it the other way. They've got numbers going in, but Christopoulos on the back check is able to wipe away a good play. The puck was going towards Goyette. Now on the back end of the play, one of the North Bay players was hit hard on the boards, and that's McDonald, and he is just getting up now, and he will skate right to the bench. North Bay bring the puck down the other way. Delayed penalty coming up against the Wolves, and as they touch it in their own zone,
looks like it's going to be a cross-check.
Cross-checking is the call.
Yeah, it must have been that play on McDonald, who he doesn't look too bad. He just looks a little shaken up right now, which is good news. Not a guy you want to lose, especially when, again, there's only 4 games left, and right now you're kind of at a point, too, where you're trying to manage injuries. You do not want to have one of your big guns going out. Do they have depth? Can they make it work? Yes, but you want Kyle McDonald in for a playoff push here, as of course he just signed that entry-level deal with Dallas, and you know that he's going to have such a have such a weight off of his mind going into those playoffs as well. He's going to be so comfortable and I think confident, and that's going to be a big plus for the Battalion.
So first power play of the game for the North Bay Battalion. They have the 9th ranked power play going up against the Sudbury Wolves' 17th ranked penalty kill. And off the draw, it's Nelson with it. Below the circle, plays it to Romani, who sends it back up high. Now to the left side boards, Nelson. Below the circle again, Romani. Back up high. The shot coming in is stopped, and it's Petrov at the point with 4 forwards and 1 defenseman on their first power play unit.
And if you're the Battalion, this is a big penalty, as you want to at least get one more, assuming that they don't give up a goal in this period, but you want to get at least one more going into the break, as you want to kind of create that separation, especially early on when the Wolves haven't found their feet defensively. And this is a great opportunity, as you said, 17th ranked, basically almost the worst power play in the league, or 3rd worst power play in the league. So it's going to be big, and expect number 24 there to get a good shot off this draw.
There's actually 2 playoff teams who have worse penalty kill stats than the Sudbury Wolves do right now. That's surprising, actually. Jackson with it. Off the circle, plays it down to Petrov. Across the left side, Nelson one-timer, and that one is blocked. McCallum trying to get it out of the zone. He's stopped by Arnsby. Arnsby behind the net, try to control it. McCallum gets it back, and McCallum sends it all the way down the ice. Robertson will hold it behind the net. Flips it around to the near side to Nelson. With 1:10 to go on the power play and 6 minutes remaining in the period. North Bay lead 1-0. Petrov to the left side to Jackson. Jackson over the blue line, drops it to Romani. Romani to the point, sends it to Nelson. To the right side, Petrov. Petrov to the left side, Nelson walking in. The shot goes high. Nelson's got 12 power play goals this season and was looking for number 13 there. It's in the neutral zone, and it's Nelson who has control. He drops it to Jackson, who comes over the blue line. Jackson is pushed away off the puck by the Wolves, and they will clear it down the ice. 40 seconds to go on the power play. 5:25 to go in the period. Here comes Ertl back over the blue line for North Bay. He feeds it up to Bloom, who drops it back to the line to Winslow. Across to the right side to Zito. Back in the middle for Winslow. He's got room. Cross to McDonald. One-timer. Scores! There is some mac sauce on that shot.
Well, that was the Ovechkin special, right in his wheelhouse. Took a page out of Nelson's book. What was impressive about that was it went through a very small hole between Brassard's blocker shoulder and the top of the net. What a shot from Kyle McDonald, as obviously he was shooken up in his last shift and comes out firing, and this is what they needed. 13-2 the shots. They're up 2-0 with 5:14 to go, and right now this entire game, which is what you want if you're the Battalion, but this entire game so far has been all Battalion in the first 15 minutes.
For Kyle McDonald, that is going to be his 34th goal of the season, 51st point of the year. Another shot comes in, and Brassard makes the save. But since he signed his deal with Dallas on March 10th, McDonald has a goal in every single game. He had 2 the day he signed the deal.
Yep.
He had 2 against Peterborough this past Thursday. He had 1 against London, and now he's got 1 against Sudbury.
He's got 6 goals in his last 4 games, which is absolutely ridiculous. 42 games played. Imagine if he played all the whole, like, almost 70 games in the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's almost at a goal per game, which is absolutely. We talk about point per game. He's almost at a goal per game. And he's a guy who scores in bunches. Like, when you look at that, his last 4 games, Oshawa 2 goals, Peterborough 2 goals. It wouldn't surprise me if he finds the net again here.
He's on a 5-game goal streak, and he's gotten a point in every game of this 7-game winning streak for the North Bay Battalion. There's a shot coming in. That one is high towards Brassard, and it goes over the glass and out of play. In fact, the last time he didn't get a point was that 8-2 loss to the Sarnia Sting.
And the thing with McDonald, too, is he's a guy that I think can just slot into an AHL, NHL lineup pretty easily in the sense that he's got the size. He's not a small guy. When you look at the guys on the ice, a lot of them tend to be kind of on the shorter side. They're still growing. McDonald's already got that size. He towers over everybody. Yeah.
He is.
And, yeah, he's 20, but he's, like, he almost looks like somebody who's in, like, their mid-20s in terms of physicality, and that helps a lot when you talk about a league where everybody's kind of older.
Goyette sends it in. What a save by Robertson. He absolutely stones Coughlin on a late 2-on-1 into the zone. And Robertson with his biggest save of the game. Just his 3rd of the game, but still easily his biggest save of the period so far. Now Sudbury coming back in. They make a move. They get to the middle. A shot goes off the blocker of Robertson and in. And just like that, the Wolves cut the lead in half. It's 2-1 on the goal from Delic.
Well, that's, as you said, Delic now his 48th point of the season, 21st goal. Him and, it's him and, oh my goodness, the name is not coming to me. David Goyette, that's who he is, his line mate. Those are the 2 big goal scorers there, and you got to feel bad for Robertson. The first goal he's given up in, over almost 140 minutes. So, yeah, that's a tough one for Robertson. As you said, he got a piece of it, but just not enough as it creeps through. But if you're Robertson, that's probably a good thing to just let him settle down. He's no longer thinking about that streak that's going on. And if you're the Sudbury Wolves, I mean, you're keeping it close with 4 minutes to go.
That's we're at the 4-minute mark here, so that's 136 minutes of shutout play by Charlie Robertson. I had more time to think about it. You were trying to do it while you're talking.
That's fair. I was also trying to remember who David Goyette is.
That's right.
Apparently. But yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to Robertson, who he's looked a little shaky when we talked about that streak, and we were talking, well, maybe McIver gets a chance next year, but I think Robertson's doing a good job in his last few games to kind of shut down the critics quite a bit.
Over the line, coming into the zone is Konyan, and he gets he gets Nelson. I believe it was Nelson's stick.
I think it's
Zito's stick caught in his skates, and Zito tried to.
I think he's going to get a misconduct as well, as he said something to the referee. So yeah, he's going to get a double minor here.
Oh boy.
He was not happy with that call, as he thought he got the skate. Like, he did trip him, but he thought he had the stick and the play, and he said obviously something not right, and now all of a sudden they've got to kill off 4 minutes.
I think what it was he was trying to make it look like he was stepping on the stick, because it was wrapped around his feet for a while, and he was saying, look, I'm not forcing anything here.
Yeah.
But,
And you can't let momentum get back into Sudbury, as you talked about. And that's just not a good extra 2 minutes that Zito picks up. Sometimes you just got to not say anything, and even if you disagree, you just got to take it.
Again, this is a team that's won 2 in a row. And they center in. The shot save made by Robertson. Rebound to the slot to the right side. Goyette fans on the shot. And the Battalion are able to get the puck out of the zone. Wow, Robertson he's made 2 outstanding saves wrapped around the goal that he gave up. And here come the Wolves again. Delic over the line. He's the goal scorer so far. Takes a shot, and Robertson sees it through a lot of traffic. So there's 3:16 remaining in the double minor. 3:07 to go in the first period. North Bay are up 2-1, but remember, this is a Wolves team that's won 2 in a row. They have
They're playing for
clinched
a lot.
playoff spot. And again, they're trying to better their positioning
Which is
in the
huge.
Eastern Conference.
I mean, that's the difference between getting to round 2 versus getting, and who knows what happens, right? You get an upset. Let's say the Battalion play Hamilton or Ottawa plays Oshawa or whoever. There's an upset. The next thing you know, maybe you're playing an easier opponent in round 2, and you find yourself in the finals. Like, that stuff can always happen. So these games are so crucial if you're the Wolves, way more than they are for the Battalion, because realistically, the difference between second and third isn't a huge deal. But for the Wolves, it can be a huge deal between 7th and 5th.
North Bay win the draw. They get it out of the zone. Sudbury bring it right back in. Mania at the line. Lost it. Nelson gets the puck and sends it down the ice.
And even though the Battalion have kind of played the best in this period, they've kind of outmanned Sudbury. It's still only a 1-goal game, and that's something you have to remember. Only one shot.
And they will go offside coming into the zone. Yeah, defensively, Sudbury hasn't looked good. When they've had the puck offensively in the zone, they have looked pretty dangerous despite missing a couple of their big goal scorers. And they don't have Toure in the lineup, who leads the team in penalty minutes. That's a big guy to not have agitating the opposition.
Yeah, and again, that's what we talked about, those kind of suspensions, both him and Larman, 2 kind of bad suspensions. Like, I would not, if I'm Sudbury's head office, and I'm Rob Papineau or Derek McKenzie, I'm not too happy with the way that Larman, has missed about 14 games. Well, will miss around 14 games going into next season on some kind of not a good play.
2:25 to go as Sudbury win the draw in the neutral zone. They drop it back to Delic. Delic skates to the left side of the zone, to the circle, drops it back to the blue line to Goyette. Goyette shifting around, coming to the middle, sends it to the right side to Delic. Delic at the circle, sends it back up high to Goyette. To left side, shot comes in, deflected, it goes wide of the net. Collins picks it back up on the far side boards, finds Goyette. He feeds it down to Delic. Delic will switch spots with him. Delic sends it to the left side to get it in the circle. Now it's back up high in the zone to Delic. His shot comes through, blocked in the slot. Couple of guys getting a whack at it. Goes to the near side boards, up to the blue line. North Bay can't clear. Sudbury in control. Yearwood and Bloom battling as they go to the line. The puck goes to Christopoulos. He gets it down the ice to Tarasevich. Tarasevich one-on-one in the zone. Feeds it across to Bloom, and it's deflected off the post.
What a pass to Bloom.
That's what I was going to say. He found Bloom through that seam in the slot and got it onto his stick. North Bay looking dangerous on the counterattack there. 1:15 to play.
Well, we've seen Tarasevich
in the period.
About, I think it's 5 or 6 shorthanded goals, and that was just a perfect Battalion penalty kill where, he just ekes out a little bit. He gets that great opportunity, decides to make a perfect pass to Bloom, and unfortunately the post ends up being right there.
Boudreau over the blue line. Tamania to the left side. Shot coming in and off the mask, I believe, of Robertson. Actually might have hit his glove. Sent down the ice by North Bay. 55 seconds remaining in the power play. Again, it's a double minor to Pasquale Zito, and 40 seconds to go in the period. Sudbury dump it down. Nelson picks it up for North Bay and clears it again. Brassard, the goaltender, plays it out to Mania behind the Sudbury blue line. Now he'll bring it forward. Got some options down the left wing. That's Villeneuve, who fires it around the boards to the near side. Sent to the middle of the zone. North Bay break up the play, and they get it cleared once again. Time winding down. 10 seconds left on the clock in the first period. North Bay got the opening 2 goals, and it looks like they'll be able to carry a 1-goal lead with them into the intermission.
And
now Sudbury are getting called for too many men on the ice. So with 5.1 seconds remaining in the period, they will have even numbers on the ice. It'll be 4-on-4 for the last 5 seconds, and then North Bay will get a minute and 46 seconds of power play time.
It's so quick. Are you sure you're not a mathematician? But what a
I'm actually impressing myself right now. I was gonna say.
Sometimes you just get it right off the. It's like your reflexes; they just work.
That's
it. But if you talk about Zito taking that misconduct as a bad penalty, this bench minors just absolutely kill you. And it's one of those things that you just can't have happen in a game like this. Giving the Battalion another power play opportunity after they're 1-for-1 already in this hockey game. It's, again, all about momentum. And right now, going into the beginning of that second period, you're probably going to kill your momentum as you just started to gain it.
Sudbury win the draw. They'll hold it behind the net, and time will run out. The first 20 minutes are in the books, and the North Bay Battalion have a 2-1 lead over the Sudbury Wolves. Derek and Ben will break down period number 1 for you. You're watching the Frontline broadcast right here on YouTube, presented by Average Joe's. More on the way. Stay tuned.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
And we're back here inside Memorial Gardens, where after one period of play, it's the Battalion leading the Sudbury Wolves by a score of 2-1. Let's take a look at the first period scoring ledger, as it was Josh Bloom getting the troops on the board. 8:46 into the first period, is 29th of the season from Kyle McDonald and Pasquale Zito. And then it was Kyle McDonald notching his 34th of the season on the power play at 14:46 from Winslow and Zito. And then the Sudbury Wolves eventually got on the score sheet. Coach Adelic picking up his 21st goal of the season at 15:44 from David Goyette and Andre Anania. 4 penalties to report on in that first period. Chase Coughlin went off for cross-checking at 13:12. Pasquale Zito picked up 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike and 2 minutes for tripping, all at the 16:09 mark. And then the Wolves picked up a penalty for too many men at 19:55. That's being served by Nicholas Yearwood. So to start the second period, we'll have 9 seconds on 4-on-4 hockey before the Battalion will go on their second power play of the afternoon. They'll have a minute 46 power play time once that Zito penalty expires. Battalion were 1 for 2 on the man advantage in the first period. Meanwhile, the Sudbury Wolves 0 for 2. Let's take a look at the shots on goal. North Bay Battalion 15, Sudbury Wolves 7 shots in that first period. Taking a look around the scoreboard on this Sunday afternoon in the OHL, 2 other games going on currently as the Kitchener Rangers lead the Kingston Frontenacs by a score of 3-1. In the other game this afternoon is in Niagara, and the Ice Dogs trail the Peterborough Petes by a score of 3-1. Those games also through one period of play, and later tonight, the 6:05 start in Oshawa sees the Mississauga Steelheads in town to take on the Generals. Well, Ben, good start for the North Bay Battalion, striking twice early on and then giving up one late one, but still a good first period for the North Bay Battalion.
Yeah, I think you got to be really happy with that first period. Pretty much the first 16 minutes they dominated, then Zito got into that double minor trouble, and I think the Battalion did a great job killing off the penalty. Robertson, out of his 7 saves, probably made 3 or 4 really nice, like DiVincentis-esque saves in that period that we're used to seeing from Dom, and you got to give a lot of credit to him. He looked very strong, especially on the blocker side. Unfortunately, Delic's goal that went through was kind of an unfortunate one for him. Kind of hits off the blocker, barely gets by the line, but it happens. But if you have to be happy with the way that they killed off those 4 minutes, and then unfortunately for the Wolves, they take a really bad bench minor, which is going to kill a lot of their momentum, as it'll be 4-on-4 for 9 seconds, and then it's going to be a full power play for the Battalion, so they have a chance to make it 3-1 very early. But you got to be really happy. I think the Battalion defensively played really strong. I think offensively they played really good. I think the Wolves were not very strong defensively, and that really came to have a big effect, as the Battalion looked really strong in that game. And I think that top line of Petrov, Jackson, and Ertl could have ended up scoring 2 or 3 times in that period.
Yeah, a couple more for sure. Josh Bloom picking up his 29th this season. That was not only a big goal for the Battalion, but also for Josh Bloom himself, as he slid that 5-hole as he went in on the breakaway all alone on Brassard.
Yeah, Bloom looked really strong. Again, he just hasn't been able to hit that stride that he had back in November when the Battalion first picked him up. But a really good kind of deke, goes 5-hole, just scrapes by the line. Almost had his second of the game on a tip, as a really beautiful pass, short-handed from Tarasevic, tipped by Bloom, went off the post. So very close to having his second of the game. And this is one of those games where it could stay close for quite a bit. I wouldn't be surprised if this game kind of gets out of control, especially in the second period, as the Battalion had a couple of really good opportunities that Brassard's either made a really great save or they just haven't been able to finish there.
A scary moment around the 13-minute mark for the North Bay Battalion. Kyle McDonald gets level with a cross-check that draws a penalty. McDonald staying on the ice for some time, but able to get back on his own strength back to the bench, and eventually coming out on the power play and getting that goal. You don't want to wake up a player like Kyle McDonald.
No, and it looked like he just probably took a hard spill into the boards. He didn't look too bad. I don't know if he said anything or if you heard anything on the benches there, but he comes back out on the power play, and then he takes the classic Ovechkin office shot, as he takes one out of Ty Nelson's book almost, and he goes just an absolute perfect snipe in the most top shelf blocker side on Brassard.
Yeah, talking about Kyle McDonald, the only word that was really talked about on the bench, not really it wasn't from North Bay, it was from the Sudbury Wolves bench, and head coach Derek McKenzie not happy. He did not think that was a cross-checking penalty.
Very interesting.
So he let his mind being spoke there.
Very interesting.
And then, coming down, you see Robertson making a big toe save on a breakaway opportunity, keeping it still at scoreless. But moments later, I want to bring in Ben Long and just talking about the goal. Coach Delic scores a backhand shot. Not the easy, or it wasn't a hard shot, but sometimes those backhand shots are hard for a goaltender to get a read on.
Yeah, it wasn't a very hard shot. It almost kind of fluttered towards him, and it was in close. And one of those ones where he's skated across front of the net, shot it back against the goalie's momentum. Those always throw your balance off a little bit. And you saw Robertson make the blocker move for the save, and then just kind of hit his glove and went down and kind of bounced into the net behind him. And it was, I bet you Robertson would like to have that one back, but I see that more as an anomaly of his play today than an example of what he's playing like.
Yeah, I thought, even as a goaltender, those backhands, sometimes you can't get a good read off of the stick when that puck gets released, and maybe sometimes even look like Robertson anticipated a little bit of a harder shot coming at him than what he got there. But a good first period for Robertson on all. Did see a little bit of shakiness with the glove hand again, especially late in the first period on the power play. There was a shot going at him. He missed it with his glove and took it off the head.
He took, as you said, he took that one right off the noggin. And it doesn't look like he phased him. So Robertson's looking really solid in the first period.
Did that actually go off his head? It looked to me like it was in the glove and out of the glove, but
no, it definitely
clanked off the forehead of the helmet. So you know what? If you're going to miss one, at least you had your head behind it. You want to make sure something's behind that glove if you're going to mishandle it. And good thing he had his head there, keeping it out of the goal there. But we talked about pregame about the importance for the Sudbury Wolves. If they can't get out without a tie in that first period, at least if you're keeping it close, and the Wolves did that. They're only down 1, so you got to almost think that that's a win for the Wolves here.
Yeah, and if you look at the Delic goal, I think that was a huge goal, because you look at it and it's 2-0 at the time. The Battalion have all of the momentum, and then all of a sudden Delic hits that goal. He makes it 2-1. Zito takes that double minor, and now there's a lot of momentum back on the Wolves side. They almost scored a couple of times in there to tie the game, and that would have been a totally different story. So yes, the Battalion kind of dominated the first 15, 16 minutes, but again, you're just kind of one kind of weird bounce away, one shot away from tying this game up. And if you're the Battalion, when you come into the second period and you're going to have about a minute 45, minute 46 power play, that's going to be a great opportunity for them to make it 3-1. And I think in the second period, if they can go up 3-1, 4-1, kind of create some separation between the two teams, that'll be a big in the next 20 minutes.
This is really the first time that we've seen a full Battalion lineup in some time. We know we're still missing Tanias Mathern, but outside of that, this is the lineup that should start the playoffs for the North Bay Battalion. They had their feet moving. They seem to be picking up their passes. Where do you see they can make a little bit, maybe improve a little bit in the second period with this lineup?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, as you said, because I think they've looked very strong. There have been a couple of opportunities where the Wolves have had some chances in the high slot area where they weren't able to quite clear the puck out of the own zone. I think for the most part, if you're the Battalion, though, a lot of that pressure happened on the power play. I think if you're the Battalion, you got to continue playing the way you did in the first 15 minutes when you weren't on that 4-minute power play. And if they can keep doing that, they played very strong. The Wolves gave them a lot of chances in the defensive zone. They gave them a lot of ice to kind of skate around and make some passes. They didn't really crash or double team a lot of guys and put a lot of pressure and numbers. So it's one of those it's one of those things where I think the Battalion just has to continue playing the way they are. And if they do, going into the playoffs, it's going to be very good. It's going to be interesting, though, when you talk about lineups going into the playoffs. Is this going to be the lineup that we see game one, potentially against Sudbury, or are we going to see maybe Tarian coming back in? Are we going to see Procession, who's playing wing? We haven't seen too much of him in that game. He didn't get too many touches of the puck, but he's playing wing today. So that's another thing. Are those going to continue on? Wakely, again, sitting back in his center spot. Is that going to stay, or are we going to kind of revert back to what we've seen for the most part of the season?
Yeah, I can't really see Tarian drawing into this lineup at all. It's a pretty solid 12 forwards. Where really do you see him fit in? I can't see him taking anyone's spot that in the lineup tonight, unfortunately for Jacob Tarian. Yeah. He's just going to have to buy his time and be one of those black aces for the Battalion in the playoffs. Waiting his time, he'll be there ready if called upon, I think.
Yeah, I think, and as you said, it's kind of interesting because they did pick up kind of a surplus of forwards, right? Because when McDonald was injured, they picked up guys like Zito and they picked up guys like Bloom, and they were able to kind of almost have too many forwards. But it's just kind of interesting going in. Obviously, Petrov missed a game. Now he comes back, and I think you are right. Like it's going to be very hard to see a guy like Jacob Tarian, even though he's played so well, especially in the last 2 months. It's just there's not a lot of room for him unless, unfortunately, something happens where he gets that opportunity. But that being said, it is very interesting to see a guy like Procession get moved into a wing spot, and Wakely, who's played wing and center this year, kind of get moved, and they clearly see him as much more of a centerpiece. And Arnsby getting kind of not demoted, but moved down into that kind of more of a fourth grinder line. With Van Stietzel and Tarasevic.
Yeah, I really like Arnsby as that grinder, energy-type player out there. One player on the defensive end that I think has really improved this year, and I know we talked about it in between the benches in the first period, was Alexander Lukin. I thought he's had a solid year for the Battalion. He's come on quite strong, especially on the defensive end, and I think that has helped out and allowed more offensive out of Ty Nelson. Those two have really started, I think, to come together as one unit.
Yeah, and Lukin got a lot of time with Wyatt Kennedy, who obviously played pretty much every single game. With Tanias Mathern, unfortunately, out for the whole season, as this was supposed to be a big year for Mathern. When you looked at him and Nelson, you could almost argue Mathern was almost the better of the two, especially from a defensive standpoint. And them coming up together, this was going to be a huge kind of year for him, and unfortunately, he misses his whole year of development. So that's going to be interesting going into next year, seeing how he goes into the playoffs. But you got to give a lot of credit, as you said, to Alexander Lukin, who has played with Kennedy, has looked strong, but has also looked very strong when you look at guys like him getting a chance to play with Ty Nelson. He definitely is. He's had his opportunities where he's shown a little bit of offensive prowess, a little bit of aggressiveness, but he's such a good stay-at-home defenseman that he's able to have someone like Ty Nelson lean on him a little bit more defensively.
Okay, I want to ask Ben Long. You've seen Alexander Lukin last year. He sat out most of the playoffs. Where do you see he has improved the most?
I think his defensive responsibilities really improved a lot this year. I think his offensive prowess has really stepped up too. We've seen him make some really nice moves in the offensive end to make some good plays. And I think it was last year, I remember we talked a lot about where, especially when he started sitting out of the playoffs, we saw a lot of really good building blocks out of him. We saw a lot of the core skills that you want to see hockey players, you want to see him doing, but he just wasn't putting his game together. And really this year, as the year started, we started to see him really started getting put together, and now to the point where he's getting put out on most of the penalty kills, and he's seeing a lot of ice time in critical moments. It wouldn't surprise me if heading into next year we start to see him maybe getting a little penalty or power play time as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch the growth of Alexander Lukin, especially over the next few months here as we wind down the regular season. Battalion currently leading the Sudbury Wolves after 20 minutes by a score of 2-1. When we return on the other side, Matt Sukram will rejoin Ben Sargent for all of your second period action here as you're watching Wolves Battalion on the front line.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
Welcome back. Matthew Sukram with you here alongside Ben Sargent as we get set up for period number 2 momentarily. And if you're enjoying the broadcast, you can show your support by heading over to patreon.com/frontlinepodcast and take a look at all the different perks we have set up for our loyal listeners and subscribers. Again, it's patreon.com/frontlinepodcast. Throw a few dollars our way to show your support and to help us keep these broadcasts running. And the North Bay Battalion are hoping to keep their momentum running as well as we begin period number 2. It's 4-on-4 action for 3, 2, 1 now. A 5-on-4 for the North Bay Battalion, who've already gotten one power play goal so far in the evening. That was Kyle McDonald scoring at 14:46 of the first period to gain that 2-0 lead. But as the Battalion move it into the zone, they turn the puck over, and they will chase it back down the other way. Nicholas Yearwood is serving the too-many-men penalty that the Sudbury Wolves took at 19:55 of the first. Nelson moves it over the blue line to Arnsby. Arnsby tried to play it back to the blue line, but the pass came in too hard. It deflected off Petrov, and it's out to the neutral zone, and they will chase it back all the way into their own end. North Bay not looking as hot on this power play as they did on their first one. They turn it over the line. Pass to the middle of the North Bay zone is intercepted, and North Bay are able to get it out of the zone. It's Ertl over the blue line, drops it back, sends it around the near side boards. Jackson flips it to Nelson on the line, down to Jackson again at the right side boards. Stops below the circle, plays it back up high to Nelson across the left side. Petrov's one-timer. It's just wide of the net. Now Jackson with it again on the near side. To the point to Nelson. Back to the left side. Petrov in the hash marks. Feeds it up high to Nelson. To Jackson, the one-timer. That one goes wide as well. That'll ricochet off the end boards, and it will be chased down the ice by Nelson, who gets it back quickly and puts on the Jets. Gets into the zone. Finds McDonald. Plays it back now in the middle. Erdl to Jackson on the right side. The shot is stopped by Brassard, and maybe one too many passes on that last play by the Battalion.
Yeah, and a very good start. Well, you talk about the Wolves having the 17th ranked penalty kill. They did a really good job. Obviously, it's kind of tough when you're going off a 4-on-4 and then you get into a situation where you're not able to set up properly. But I thought the Wolves did a really good job not allowing the Battalion to get too many opportunities so far with still 16 seconds to go. But this could be a very important period here. This could be a period where the Battalion go up 3-1, 4-1 after 20. If you're the Wolves, again, it's trying to keep this a 1-2 goal game as much as you can heading into the third. But the Battalion have a great opportunity to kind of push away going into the final frame.
Playback underway. Winslow has it at the blue line. Across to the left side, Brostowski fires it in. That one goes wide of the net. It ricochets out to the neutral zone. Yearwood is out of the box and in control of the puck. Here he comes into the zone, slides it across the slot, but can't connect on the pass. And now North Bay going on the counterattack. Again, we're 5-on-5 now. It's Zito down the left wing side. He puts on the brakes and then slips and falls and gives the puck away in the process of that play. Out to the neutral zone, shot right back in. 17:40 to go in the second period. North Bay lead 2-1. And for the first time this period, we are back to 5-on-5 as Sudbury bring it out of the zone, down the left wing. Coughlin with it, dumps it in towards the North Bay net. It's picked up back there by Christopoulos. Christopoulos looking down his right wing, has some speed moving through the zone, finds Romani over the blue line. He gets behind the defense. Romani drags it around, but Brassard makes the save as he stretches out the pad. The pass comes out in front of the net, and Procession cannot bury it. Puck goes to the far side boards. Penalty coming up against Sudbury here. It's touched by Wakely behind the net. He gets shoved into the boards, and Sudbury touches the puck, and that's going to be a penalty coming up against them. And now Robinson and Wakely with some pushing and shoving and some fists being thrown up high. And you wonder now if Wakely is going to get a retaliatory penalty called against him.
Well, we'll have to see, as Procession getting a very good opportunity. It looks like Wakely is going to go off. But we'll see if maybe there will be a double minor potentially. We'll have to see how this goes out, but it looks like Robinson's getting taken off too, so we'll have to see how this shakes out if this is going to be. So there's a cross check and a rough. So it looks like it's going to end up being a power play for the Battalion here, as there'll be coincidental roughing calls. And he's going to get a misconduct, so an extra 2 minutes. That's the second misconduct we've seen in this game.
Wow.
One for each side now, as again, it's just that jawing afterwards. And it looks like, and now McDonald also going to the dressing room, according to Derek, with some inside information there. So we'll have to, a lot of stuff has just happened in the last a minute, and we're trying to break it down. So right now there's 4 minutes on the board for Sudbury, and it looks like coincidental roughing, so that'll just keep it normal, but it looks like a double minor, and the second double minor we've seen in this hockey game, with, of course, Zito going off near the end of the first period.
So I didn't see the original cross-check, but clearly Wakely took exception to it.
I'm going to assume, I didn't see it either, I'm going to assume it was on McDonald, which would have been the second time he got cross-checked this game. I don't have confirmation on that, though. We'll see if we can get it. But I'm assuming that's why he would have left. And then obviously Wakely, as you said, bringing the body. And then Robinson with that, again, not able to, he just kind of runs his mouth a little bit too much. And the referee right now is not afraid to throw those technicals out when he feels like there's too much, some choice words are thrown his way.
So Blake Peters-Davy will head to the box as well, so he will serve the 4 minutes because of the technical call against Robinson for the unsportsmanlike, so he will have to actually be in the box for, I'm guessing, a total of 14 minutes.
Robinson's still not happy as he slams the stick against the... You don't want to take another 2 minutes, though, so...
So North Bay have another power play here in the second period. Nelson with the puck. To the right side, Jackson. Back up high to Nelson, the shot coming in, and it's a save made by the goaltender Brassard. Kicked it out to the blue line. Petrov keeps it in play. Sends it across the zone to Jackson. Back to the slot. Nelson's there. His shot just goes wide. And the puck is picked up by Sudbury and sent down the ice. And it went behind Robertson off the end boards, and it almost went in the net.
You can see him sighing a little bit as he couldn't play it through the trapezoid, and that was almost a tie game.
Wow.
That would have been one heck of a replay, though.
Petrov has it back in this Sudbury zone to Jackson, the shot, and that one is stopped. Brassard is knocked down in the net, but the official just staring at it and deciding not to call anything there. Is that with Arnsby right on the doorstep. The puck still moving around the zone. It's Jackson on the right side circle, takes a shot, and it's deflected in front and goes behind the net. Played off the end boards, now sent around to the near side to Jackson. He flips it to the corner to Arnsby. Arnsby carries it back up high in the zone to Petrov. To the left side, Nelson's shot goes right into Brassard, and he holds on to it for the stoppage play. So there's 2:43 remaining in the penalty to Robinson, which is the double minor. Wakely is still in the box. 15:47 to go. 2-1 the score, North Bay.
So to clear up those penalty calls there, it was the 2 minutes for roughing for each player is offsetting. There was 2 minutes for cross-checking, 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike.
Yeah. And McDonald to the dressing room, so we'll have to see if he comes back out.
No, he's got to be getting more for unsportsmanlike. Otherwise, Morrow wouldn't be in the box.
That was the call over the PA.
Yeah.
So
well, it's wrong.
It's been wrong before, but that's what we've been told from the box sent up to him.
Perfect. All right.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was cross-checking and a roughing that he's getting, right?
Well, it's cross-checking, roughing, and unsportsmanlike, but it's an extra 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike. But because they're offsetting penalties, they don't get totaled against the other ones.
Okay. Ertl in front of the net. To the left side, back up high in the zone. Winslow to the right side, Zito. Back to Winslow, across to the left side. Back up high to Winslow, to the right side, Zito. Cross zone pass to the left side. Bloom was walking in, but the puck slid off his stick. He regains it, finds Ertl behind the net. Passes back to the left side circle. To the right side boards now is Zito. Trying to feed it in the corner, looking for Ertl. It's just wide of his stick, and Sudbury get it, but they can't clear it. Stopped on the far side boards. Now into the corner, it is Ertl. In behind the net. Back up to the near side to Zito, to the point to Winslow. To the right side, Zito. Back across to the left side, Bloom. Bloom to the circle. Van Stietzel's shot is stopped in front. It goes behind the net. Play on the end board. Zito's in there, trying to get puck free out of that area. Sends it to the boards. Winslow gets knocked down to the boards, and that allows Boudreau to get up ahead to Goyette. And Sudbury is finally out of their zone as they try to get a shot towards the net, but North Bay completely on the back check blocked that opportunity from happening. 14:15 to play in the second period. North Bay still up 2-1, and they've got just a minute remaining now on this double minor power play. It's the second time they've got the man advantage in this period.
Robertson playing that one a little bit more safe in his own zone.
And still waiting to see exactly what they're going to put on the score sheet for those penalties that were assessed. North Bay bring it back into the Sudbury zone. It's Jackson on the right side. Feeds it down low. It's kicked off the skate of Romani. Sends it behind the net for Arnsby. Back up high to Nelson. Shot comes in. Save made. Rebound right to the stick of Romani, but he never got control of it. And it's sent to the far side boards. That's where Arnsby takes over. He sends it to Nelson. Back up to Petrov at the blue line. To the right side, it's Jackson. Back up to Petrov. One-time shot from way out. And that one is stopped. Might have gone right through to Brassard, but it's wide of the net off that play. And now it's Romani in the right side circle had a chance at it. That one is stopped. Romani gets the puck again, walking in. Feeds it to the left side. The shot scores. Petrov buries it. And North Bay, with 5 seconds remaining on the power play, make it a 3-1 game.
Well, it was very close as Wakely's finally able to come into the box as well, which is the first whistle that he's taken in the last few minutes. But you got to give a lot of credit to the Sudbury Wolves defensively, who almost killed off that entire 4-minute penalty. Their defense looked very solid, and finally it was the Battalion able to find that cross-slot pass that went right on the stick of Petrov, and we've seen that a couple of times where Petrov's able to get his one-timer in nice and tight. And if you look at Kevin Brassard, again, 24 shots, and pretty much every goal has kind of been not really his fault. when it comes to letting those in. So he's looked very strong, but a huge goal for the Battalion now to regain their 2-goal lead.
7 minutes into this period, and there is still fresh ice in the North Bay Battalion defensive zone. It's basically been, the puck has been in the Sudbury zone the entire time. But you're right, defensively, Sudbury has looked better, although they do give up that goal right at the end of
still no shots for the Wolves either in this period. Closest they had was that almost misplay by Robertson.
That's it. Yeah, North Bay lead 24-7 in that category. Petrov, the goal scorer, with his 27th of the season. And it's North Bay looking for more. Brostowski at the blue line, finds Procession, skates to the middle, sends it to the left side. Brostowski there again, feeds it in towards Van Steensel, who's right on the doorstep, but it goes off his stick and into the pads of Brassard, and he holds it for the stoppage of play. 12:20 to go in the second period. 3-1 North Bay lead. Still looking to see if Kyle McDonald's come back to the bench. We got a message from Derek downstairs that he left after that cross-check.
His second time he's been cross-checked this game. Robinson, interesting enough, still in the box here, so we're gonna have to see.
So, I think they finally put it up here. So, Robinson is got 2 for roughing, 2 for unsportsmanlike, and 2 for cross-checking. So he's only in the box for 6 minutes then.
And it looks like Blake Peters-Davy was served both the roughing and unsportsmanlike penalties. And not the cross-checking.
So it's the cross-checking that gets offset,
unless
I
he
guess.
somehow got a misconduct in that play either, but I did not see that.
Yeah.
That definitely wasn't called, but we'll see. He's in the box still, so we'll have to see when he comes out.
So Yearwood brings it over the blue line. Drops it back to Delic, who sends it behind the net. Coughlin on the far side. Coughlin had a golden opportunity to score earlier in the game, but was stopped point blank by Robertson on one of his nicer saves of the 6 that he's made in the game. And the Battalion bring it right back down the ice. Zito sends it in, deflects off the stick of Wakely and just goes wide of the net. In behind the net, still in the Sudbury zone. The puck is picked up by Chromiak. He gets it out to the neutral zone. And North Bay are able to just slap that puck away, and it's Christopoulos sending it down the right side. Tries to get to the stick of Wakely, but it's skipped past his stick, and it goes into the Sudbury zone, and that will be icing called against the Battalion. 11:28 to go. North Bay lead 3-1.
Well, again, it's kind of an interesting period so far. Again, the Battalion still haven't given up a shot in this period, as they've looked really, really strong on the offensive side. And again, if you're Sudbury, it's all about trying to keep it as close as possible in the next 11:28. If you can maybe find one more goal past Robertson, but I think the Battalion are looking for at least one more goal in the second half of this period to just really kind of break away going into the third.
Shot comes in off the draw, wide of the net, and Sudbury will chase that rebound all the way down the ice. Mania gets it back up to Goyette. Goyette tries to feed it to the middle. There's a collision with a couple players falling down. McCallum throws the gloves right into the face of Hislop. Hislop gets it back, and the gloves are down, and they're going to fight right on the boards. A couple of good punches thrown, but both players go down quickly, as Hislop was pretty fed up with McCallum.
Very interesting.
On that play.
Very interesting that in that play as it happened, it was McCallum kind of hitting Hislop retaliating, and then it kind of goes, but at no point, the referee was right there, at no point did he put up his arm to call a penalty on either one until it ended up turning into a fight. So that was kind of, and you knew something was going to happen because the puck was nowhere near them, and they just kind of kept going at it. So we'll have to, obviously this will be a fighting major for Hislop, but we'll have to see where the instigators come from and who's going to end up getting on the power play, because as it looks like Robinson finally out of the penalty box now.
Yeah.
So very interesting on that, but we'll have to see who gets the instigator, and obviously because in this league, anytime there's a fight, there's an automatic instigator penalty to whoever started it. So I think that's what the referees are trying to deliberate here. It's kind of interesting because McCallum kind of started it, but then Hislop really kind of initiated the actual fight part of it.
Yeah, Hislop initiated them dropping the gloves, but yeah, McCallum was the one who threw the fists up first. So I think they're just saying both teams are getting a 5, and that's it.
Unless they just give them 5 for roughing and not. I don't know, because there was a
No,
fight in that London game that wasn't a fight, but the gloves were off, and Bouchard should have gotten a fight, but I don't know. I
think they're just going to give them 5 each for fighting and no instigator here.
I thought, and I could be wrong about this, but I thought that it was an automatic instigator in the Ontario Hockey League. But
yeah, we'll have to check that. I think they removed that actually a couple years ago. So 11:01 to go in the second period. 3-1 lead for the North Bay Battalion. They dump it down the ice and they call icing.
So it is a fighting for sure. I'm going to try and find that out to see, because I don't know. That's what Derek told me. But I don't know. Maybe Derek lied to me.
Wouldn't be the first time.
But I'll see if we
that
can
was
get
a
an
weird
answer for
icing call, though. Okay, so Ertl beat the player to the goal line, but then he never touched the puck, so it went past him.
So with that, it's where they're at the dots when the puck crosses the goal line. The ref didn't blow the whistle right away, but
He
doesn't
blow,
always.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what threw me off, because I'm waiting for him, and then it was... All right. A little bit delayed on a Sunday afternoon for the whistles. North Bay break out of the zone. It's a 3-on-1. Lucan to the middle. Back to Lucan. Tried to feed it back across the far side. And it goes off the body of the defender. I believe it was Anania. And then up and over the glass and out of play. And that's the second or third time today that a Battalion defenseman has had a good chance to score, and they've decided to pass the puck.
He should have just passed that, and that's something where if that was Nelson, he would have shot, right?
Yeah.
And that just comes down to the confidence of they don't believe enough in their shot. We saw that with Hislop, right?
Petrov is someone who believes in his shot, but his stick certainly doesn't, as it snapped basically in half as he tried to get the shot off the draw. But the puck goes to the far side boards, and now it's cleared out of the zone by the Sudbury Wolves.
I think that's interesting, too, about the defensemen not taking shots, is you think because they don't take them that often that they'd want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
you don't get
weird
those
part of
opportunities
the...
very often.
Yeah. 10:15 to play. Yeah, how often do you see Lucan leading the rush on an odd man opportunity? North Bay trying to get the puck out of the zone. They lead 3-1 halfway through the second period here. Behind the North Bay net, it's sent around to the near side boards. Ertl flips it out of the zone. He gets it to the stick of Petrov, who finds Jackson over the blue line, racing down the left wing side, tries to get it to the middle. It gets up to the blue line to Christopoulos. He sends it into the circle, looking to get on the stick of Bloom, but he gets knocked away from the puck, and then coming out of the zone, a hard hit as I believe it was Jackson knocking down Delic. It was Ertl knocking down Delic right in front of the North Bay bench on a clean hit coming out of the zone. But Sudbury regain possession in their own end. Turn it over. Coming in is Bloom. There's a shot on net. Save made by Broussard. Bloom gets the puck back into the corner. He finds Jackson. Jackson tries to feed it down the right side to Nelson. It's blocked away from Nelson, and Sudbury clear the zone. They bring it down the left side boards. Villeneuve going into the zone. He can't control the puck, and North Bay get it back out. 3-on-2 the other way. Procession to Bloom to Romani down the right wing. Romani knocked away from the puck, and it gets skipped out to the neutral zone. Sent right back in by Winslow. And the North Bay Battalion will get another line change here as they keep the puck cycled deep into the Sudbury zone. Now Sudbury has a lane to get out. They send it down the right side boards. Coming in is Peters Davey. And he tried to pass it to the middle of the zone. North Bay knocked the puck away from that area, but they send it behind their own net, and now Peters Davies there, trying to get around a couple of guys, tries to feed to the middle. That's knocked away. And it goes to the far side boards for Van Steensel. Van Steensel behind the net, gets it to Winslow. He gets knocked hard into the glass, but maintains possession as it comes down the left wing side. Now sent back into the middle of the zone, and Winslow has it carried out of the zone for North Bay. The Battalion overage defender sends it around to the near side to Arnsby in the Sudbury zone. He feeds it down low. Then the pass across the left side is stopped. And it went behind the net. And it's now Bristowski with a shot from the blue line. And the save is made by the goaltender Broussard. 8:01 remaining in the second period. North Bay lead 3-1.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news or access the alumni job portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
And And we'll be joined once again by Derek, who's between the benches. And Derek, still no sign of Kyle McDonald on the bench. That could be worrisome for the North Bay Battalion this late in the season.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what the cause of the issue was. He did leave and went down to the dressing room with the trainer, Andrew Sutton. Andrew has since returned, but no sign of Kyle McDonald. That usually means that he usually means he won't return tonight, but we're going to rule it right now as unlikely. So we probably won't see McDonald for the rest of the night, and hopefully it's not that long of an injury. If it is, he was a very important key and did get one goal in this game tonight, though, man.
Yeah, he's got a goal and an assist tonight, so Kyle McDonald, as Derek said, hasn't returned to the bench since leaving early on here in the second period. North Bay lead 3-1 with 8:01 remaining in the second period, and they've really controlled most of the play in this portion of the game.
And I wonder how much with the McDonald leaving the game, I wonder if this is, because this is the second time he's been cross-checked, the second kind of injury-related thing. I wonder if this is also kind of a cautious thing. Maybe he could be being potential. I don't think he's being targeted, but I think they just want to kind of keep him away from potentially getting injured. So it could just be a precautionary thing as well.
And again, this has the potential, as Sudbury goes offside, this has the potential to be a first-round playoff matchup. So,
and the last thing you want, as we talk, is like you don't want to see McDonald leave, not be in the playoffs with how good he's playing right now. As again, I think if anything, it's more precautionary. As I didn't see him quite leave the ice, but yeah, I don't expect him to miss. I expect him to be playing, if he doesn't come back in this game, to at least be playing in Hamilton on Thursday, or against Hamilton, I should say, here on Thursday.
Just 3 games remaining for the North Bay Battalion after this one. The Sudbury Wolves with control of the puck inside the North Bay zone. They take the shot from the point. It deflects wide of the net. Bristowski picks it up for North Bay, but they can't clear it. He'll get a second chance, though, as it goes off a couple of skates. He sends it to Nelson, and Nelson gets it out to the neutral zone of Armsby. He finds Tarasevich coming down the right wing side. Tarasevich to the circle, plays it back to the blue line for Nelson coming in the zone. His shot goes wide of the net, and North Bay still controlling it in the far side corner. Couple of hard checks on those boards, and now Sudbury come away with the puck through the neutral zone. It's Mania coming over the blue line to the left side circle. He takes a shot that's stopped by Robertson, but Mania gets his own rebound back and tries to wrap around, but couldn't bury it on the far side post. Robertson holding his ground there. Still no shots. There's one, the first one of the period for the Sudbury Wolves, as Robertson makes a quick kick save. Back to line. Another one comes in. That gets blocked in front. Goes to the far side corner. Christopoulos has it. He plays it out to the neutral zone. And it's dropped back to the Sudbury blue line. Now they bring it forward. They try to dump it in the zone. That gets blocked and kicked all the way down the ice. Back into the Sudbury end.
Well, David Goyette almost getting a great scoring opportunity there, as he went down with a high, he looked like he got high sticked, was slow to get up, and then almost got a good play. But interesting enough with that shot, they still haven't credited on the scoreboard. So I think because that went through the blue ice, it wasn't going towards the net, they might not have credited that with a shot. So maybe Sudbury's still looking for their first shot.
I thought he made the initial save, and then that was the rebound that came.
So did I, but you'll have to take it up with the shot guy.
I guess so. Poor Charlie Robertson.
Yeah, save percentage not getting a lot of favor.
Exactly.
He's looked great in this game, though. I mean, he's made 4 or 5 great saves so far. But, yeah, save percentage is going to look a little skewed, I think.
North Bay win the draw. Bloom plays it to the circle. Back to the point to Christopoulos. He takes the shot, and that is stopped by Broussard in net. 6:13 to play in the second period. 3-1 score, and now they put it up. 8, 9, 10.
Wow,
okay, well, I thought he made 1 save.
He made 3. Well, Sudbury's gotten 3 on the board so far. But you got to give a lot of credit to Broussard, who's now 26 saves and 29 shots. And we talked about this being his 3rd straight start. He's potentially going to be the goaltender for the playoffs, potentially against this Battalion. I think he's winning that spot right now. As Project's had a decent year, but I think Broussard right now is showing that he's going to be the number 1 guy.
I think if you're Sudbury, you go with whoever's had the hottest hand going into the postseason. Delic coming out of the zone, driving towards the net, takes a shot. It goes wide as he was coming down the right wing side towards the North Bay Battalion net, and North Bay are able to clear the puck. 6 minutes to go in the second period. 3-1 score, North Bay. It's Christopoulos feeding it down the ice. It's deflected in the neutral zone, and it ends up on the end boards in the Sudbury Wolves end. It's Delic who has it for the Wolves. He comes out through the neutral zone, has some speed going down the ice, flips it to the right side boards. The pass across the zone is blocked by the Battalion, and it ends up in the corner. Now it's behind the net. Sudbury send it around to the far side boards. North Bay control the play off that pass, and they bring it down the ice. It's Zito coming in on the right side. Drops it back to Blue. To Zito wide open, and the shot goes under the pads of the goaltender Brassard and through the blue paint to the opposite side, and Sudbury able to clear it out of the zone.
And another time where it was Christopoulos jumping up on the rush. Another time where the defenseman is going up into the offensive rush.
Now on the counterattack, it's Collins with it. In the near side corner in the North Bay zone. Collins getting tied up with Bristowski. They send it off the near side boards, and it gets sent to the far side to Petrov, and Petrov will carry it all the way down the ice. Tries to set up in front of the Sudbury net to Ertl, but Ertl gets tied up going in front of the net, and both players going for a spill there as the puck gets sent right back down into the North Bay end. 4:40 to play. North Bay had 3-1.
What a game Justin Earl's having. It kind of feels like it'd be crazy if he doesn't score a goal in this game, especially with the opportunities that top line has had.
And Ertl dumps it in again. Play behind the net by the Wolves, sent around to the near side boards. The Wolves clear it out to the neutral zone. Goyette took a stab at it. Petrov takes it away from him and finds some space to get it to Jackson in the neutral zone. He gets over the blue line, but it's knocked away from his stick, and now Goyette going the other way. Down the right wing side, over the blue line, takes a shot. Save made by Robertson, and then it went off his mask, and he had to scramble on the doorstep to get it, and now it looks like everybody's throwing some fists to cups in the blue paint. Nelson's involved. Can't see
I think that's Petrov also in there as well. As Robertson he stopped that puck, and then obviously as soon as there's anything around the goaltenders, there's going to be a big collision.
Yeah. I was going to say Konyan was almost trying to go 1-on-2 against the Battalion in the blue paint there.
And Robertson was kind of kneeled over, but I think that was just him being kneeled over. It didn't look, but it almost looked like he was holding onto his arm, but I think he's good to go there as just standing. But there's going to be some penalties here. Petrov's going to get a slash as Konyan's now going to leave the box. So it looks like 5-on-4 right now. It's going to be a power play. It's going to be a slashing call on Petrov. Looks like the only penalty there, as initially there was a Wolf in the box and they left.
Well, that's a weird one to call.
So Petrov getting the lone penalty. So it looks like with 4 minutes to go in this period, just like the first period, it'll be Sudbury an opportunity to come within one. And if you're Sudbury, if you can make this a 3-2 game going into the third, that'd be perfect. And
yeah,
if you're the Battalion, you want to keep this a 2-goal lead going into the final 20. We know how good they are when they have the lead.
And let's face it, if you're the Wolves, you've basically been outplayed this entire period. But like you said, you have a chance to make this a 1-goal game right here.
You're always one shot away, and that's what's scary about having a 1-goal lead. No matter how good you're playing, it's only one weird bounce or shot away from tying the game. You don't win based off of shots alone.
So the Sudbury Wolves get the power play out there. The Wolves come in with the worst power play in the league, ranked 20th. With a 17.1% power play efficiency rate coming into this game. Goyette to the right side to Delic. Back up high to Goyette. To the right side, Delic in the circle. Back up high to Goyette. Takes a shot. It gets through. Robertson makes a save. And then Yearwood with a little dig at it as it was under the pads of Robertson. And that's going to draw a crowd around the crease. 1:25 to go, and the penalty to Petrov. 3:29 to play in the period. It's a 3-1 North Bay lead, and they have the #1 penalty kill in the league.
Yeah, and it's always interesting to see, like, right now the referees are kind of being a little, they're not afraid to call penalties, so it's always interesting when you see these scrums, what's going to come out of it. And it's surprising that Sudbury is having such a, well, not necessarily surprising, but you have to remember they do have guys like Goyette and Delic out there right now, so it's not like you're going to have a free ride through this penalty kill either. If you're the Battalion, you've got to make sure you keep the Robertson a nice clean shot rate, or a clear look rate at the shots, and you got to try to keep any of the rebounds away from any Wolves sticks. And if they can kill off this penalty, this is going to be a crucial 1:25, even though we're in the second period. This could be a big penalty kill here for the Battalion.
The officials talking to the... I think one of the officials is getting checked out. I think the trainer for the Sudbury Wolves is repairing one of the officials' hands in some way. So while we've got a minute, we'll let you know that this week on the front line, we've got 2 games on tap for you. On Thursday, the Battalion hosts the Hamilton Bulldogs at 7 p.m. And on Sunday, the troops welcome in Mississauga to wrap up the regular season at 2 o'clock. Catch it all right here on the Frontline broadcast presented by Average Joe's. Another team that we've covered this season are the U18 Trappers, and they won the title in the Great Northern Midget League for the U18 season, coming away with a victory today, 8-5 in the gold medal game. So congratulations to the U18 Trappers.
Surprising because the Sioux has been so good this year, and the Trappers have also looked very fantastic, and Mike McIver's done a great job in net for them. Of course, the Battalion, he's played 2 games for the Battalion this season, looking pretty solid in both of them.
1 minute remaining on the Sudbury power play as the puck gets cleared immediately by the North Bay Battalion. 2:50 to go.
Maybe we'll see if we can get an update on McDonald going into the...
North Bay get the puck out ahead. It's Tarasevic in on the breakaway, all alone towards the net. On the back end, he scores. He lifts it up and over the shoulder of Brassard, who went down early. And Tarasevic has yet another short-handed goal this season for the North Bay Battalion. He makes it 4-1.
Well, again, Tarasevic right there. He just picks up the puck. And this is what the Battalion do. When you look at the... When you look at the way the Wolves had their penalty kill, they didn't, or their power play, sorry, they had nobody back there at all. So Tarasevic gets a free look on Brassard, and Brassard can't really do much as he gets his pad down and then tries to kick his pad up, but it's Tarasevic going top shelf for yet another. I believe that's his 6th or 7th goal. His 5th shorthanded goal, I believe, on the year.
They've scored 15 as a team. Tarasevic now has 5 of them. And what a season Tarasevic is having for the North Bay Battalion. 16 goals for the former Sarnia Sting. That's his 42nd point on the year as well.
Well, that's, as you said, his 5th one is now going to tie him with Cameron Tolnai with the Ottawa 67s for lead, as he was kind of in between tied and leading for shorthanded goals in the year. So a lot of people, Max McHugh, J.R. Avin, Francesco Pinelli, all these guys at 4. Now Tarasevic tied with number 1 in shorthanded goals. What a guy to have on your penalty kill.
No kidding. And that was just a play that was broken at the line, and Tarasevic just happened to be hanging out in the neutral zone. And
that's what happens. He does that so much where he's able to break out. And not much that Brassard could do, as he's just absolutely left to dry by his team.
2 minutes to go, and we're back to 5-on-5 play. Sudbury bringing the puck towards the North Bay net, but the Battalion forced the turnover, and now it's ahead to Romani going one-on-one in the zone. He stops in the circle, finds Wakely coming in. The shot from Wakely is stopped by Brassard, and now it's Romani on the right side. Takes another shot. That gets blocked. The puck comes back to the line to Christopoulos. Christopoulos plus 48 on the season coming into this game. He feeds it into the corner. Sudbury and North Bay battling for there. The puck comes up high to the boards, and it's cleared out of the zone. Lukin running that one down. He almost turned it over right in front of the goaltender Robertson, but he recovers in time to get the puck away from that area. Now the puck is on the near side, into the corner. Christopoulos battling for it there. The puck comes down the boards, and it's Jackson who will get it out of the zone. But he turns it over in the neutral zone, and it's sent right back in by Sudbury. 1:05 to go in the second period. North Bay ahead 4-1. They've scored 2 in the first. They've scored another 2 here in the second. Wakely coming down the left wing side. Puts on the brakes as he goes to the corner and then gets knocked away from the puck. Sudbury looking to clear. They can't. Get stopped at the line. And it's back along the end boards. It comes around to the near side. Jackson with it in the circle, going to the slot, takes the shot, and it just goes wide. He was looking to try to deflect it off Wakely, who is open in front of the blue paint. 25 seconds to go. The puck comes to the line, but Brustowski cannot hold it there. He'll drop all the way back behind his own blue line. Now he plays it forward. It's Jackson over the Sudbury line. Sends it to the left side of Petrov. Petrov fans on the shot, got it back, tried to feed it to Jackson. It's past him, and that allows Sudbury to come out of the zone, and they dump it down the ice. 5 seconds to go as Winslow has it in the North Bay end. Flicks it back behind the net for Brostowski, and time will run out. 40 minutes are in the books. It's a four-goal game for the North Bay Battalion. They lead 4-1 thanks to the power play goal from Petrov at 6:51 and the shorthanded goal from Tarasevic at 17:21. Derek and Ben will break down everything we saw here in the second period and more. You're watching the Frontline broadcast live from Memorial Gardens right here on YouTube, presented by Average Joe's. Stay tuned, more on the way.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Average Joe's Eatery. Average Joe's, where we want your experience here to be a happy one. 3501 Trout Lake Road.
And welcome back inside Memorial Gardens, where the Battalion had 2 goals in that second period to take a 4-1 lead into the dressing room. Let's take a look at the scoring summary in the second period. Matvey Petrov got the troops going again with another power play goal, his 27th of the season at 6:51. Romani and Ty Nelson picking up the assist on that goal. And then Nikita Tarasevic, shorthanded, went in all alone and beat Broussard, making it 4-1 at 17:21. Ty Nelson with the assist on that, and we'll have more on Ty Nelson coming up shortly. A few penalties in that second period. First off, a roughing call went against Dylan Robinson at 2:56 of the second period. He also got 2 minutes for cross-checking and 2 minutes for unsportsmanlike conduct, and he took with him Dallin Wakely, who got 2 minutes for roughing, so the Battalion came out with a 4-minute power play. And then Landon McCollum and Braden Hislop went off for fighting majors at 8:59, and finally Matvey Petrov went off for slashing at 15:56. Shots on goal through 2 periods of play. The Sudbury Wolves added another 5 in that second period for a total of 12. Meanwhile, the North Bay Battalion took 18 shots for a game total of 33. On specialty teams so far, the Wolves 0 for 3 with the man advantage. Meanwhile, the Battalion 2 for 4 with the extra attacker out there. 2 other games on tap this afternoon in the OHL. First off, in Kitchener, the Rangers hold a 2-0 lead over the Kingston Frontenacs. That game is after 2 periods of play, and also through 2 periods in Niagara. It's the Petes leading the Ice Dogs by a score of 5-1. Getting back to those 2 assists by Ty Nelson, that gives him 72 points on the season, which ties a single season record for points in a season by a defenseman, as he has 72 points That ties him with Michael Vernoch, who registered 72 points in 68 games back in 05-06. Well, Ben, I think it's just a moment of time before that number falls. Ty Nelson having an extraordinary season for the North Bay Battalion.
Exactly, as you said, and we kind of look back. I always think back of that goal that was disallowed a few weeks ago. I can't remember I think that might have been Mississauga that they were playing here at home, but that always is going to be, but they only have 3 games left, so hopefully that you don't jinx it. But yeah, he's only 1 point away, and the way that he plays, I'm sure that will come either today or on Thursday against Hamilton. But what a fantastic season Ty Nelson's had. He's really taken that next step that he needed to take, and I think a lot of that actually hasn't even been on the point sheet. I think his next step has been defensively for the most part.
Yeah, I think totally having an excellent year for the North Bay Battalion, both offensive, defensively. He's going to be in the running for probably one of the top defensemen of the season in the OHL this year. Definitely the choice from the North Bay Battalion. Second period, really good defensively effort, I thought, by the Battalion. Only 5 shots they gave up, and Robertson looked like it was an easy afternoon in that 20 minutes.
Yeah, and Robertson, who had it was interesting in the first period because he had 7 shots, and probably 4 of those were like really good saves. But yeah, much easier period for Charlie Robertson, who if he keeps playing the way that he does, he deserves to get a star. I don't think he'll get one, but I think he deserves one of the 3 stars with just how important some of these goals have been for him. Or sort of some of these saves have been for him, and you got to give a lot of credit to Charlie Robertson. He struggled, and you could tell his confidence was very low. He couldn't save a shot on his glove side to save his life, it seemed, during that stretch. But he's come out and he's played so well. Yes, they've been against some of the weaker teams in Sudbury, but even the Sudbury Niagaras and Oshawas of the world still have really good players on them that can shoot the puck and score. And Charlie Robertson has done a great job. And it's so important when you can have a goaltender that you trust is able to play these kind of these games against opponents who aren't at the top of the league, where you need a guy like DiVincentis between the pipes.
Unfortunately, we've seen Kyle McDonald leave before the midway mark of the second period. Unclear of what his injury extent is. Didn't really see anything happen before he left the ice. We knew he got cross-checked in the first period, but he did come back and score a goal for the North Bay Battalion on that power play. Yeah. But he looked to be in a little bit of discomfort as he made his way off the bench and eventually down the hallway towards the dressing room. Andrew Sachiku came back without him, so that more than likely means that it was the end of the night for McDonald. But really, is there any reason to rush Kyle McDonald back if it's just a minor ache, knowing that you got a 3-goal lead 20 minutes to go?
Oh, that's exactly it. At the time, it was a 2-goal lead, but even then, I mean, is McDonald going to be the reason why the Battalion win or lose this game? At this point, not really. At the point he left the game, not really. So it makes sense, too. Plus, if you have to think about it, the chances of him coming back out, I think it's going to be a pretty rough third period. It's going to be hard for Sudbury to score 3 goals, let's face it. So, and the way the Battalion play in third periods, we know how good they are. They've only had 1 loss, 1 overtime loss after leading going into the third period. So, not that this game is locked up in any case of the word, but it's a really good chance the Battalion are going to come away with a victory. And I think there's going to be some scrappiness from Sudbury. We've seen it early in this game. Frustrations, I think, are going to come to a boil. Do you really want Kyle McDonald out on the ice for that? Especially knowing that he likes to throw his body around. I think it's easier for him to just sit the rest of this one out. And worst case, if he needs to miss 1 or 2 games just to be healthy for the playoffs, that's another option too.
Yeah, definitely. He's really looked good since he signed that entry-level contract with the Dallas Stars. Talking about a little bit of that feistiness, we saw a couple incidents, especially around the goal crease area after Robertson covered up and made a couple saves. Sudbury seemed to be crashing the net once. Petrov getting called for that slashing call. But you got to like the way the Battalion are coming to the protection of your goaltender.
Absolutely, and that's something that whenever there's any sort of, like, even if you glare at the goaltender the wrong way, there's going to be some sort of contact. And the Battalion, and I think every team kind of does this as well. And unfortunately, Petrov sometimes must have taken it a little bit too far. I didn't see the slash up here, as it must have happened in a scrum. But yeah, you got to like the way that the Battalion are protecting a guy like Robertson, and they're not afraid to be physical. And we've seen that. They've been the more physical team, even with a guy like Jacob Therrien out of the lineup, who brings a lot of physicality. But we've seen it from Petrov. We've seen it from Erdl. Erdl's having, I think, probably the best game out of any Battalion right now. He's been all over the puck, somehow he's not found the back of the net. He's not a guy who shoots a lot, but since he's come back from injury, he has been shooting a bit more. He has been trying to get the puck in the back of the net. He laid out a big hit in front of the bench. He's just having a really great game, and I think he's one of those guys, we haven't talked a lot about him, but man, I think he's been one of the best players on the ice today.
Definitely creating a lot of space for his line mates. And you talked about that hit just in front of the Battalion bench. I know I had to turn away because it looked like if Ray Train was coming after him. But, yeah, definitely a big hit. And then we saw Hislop drop the mitts with McCollum. Not really like him, but you know what? It's nice to see that there's that little bit of edge, and he's not going to let players around with pushing him around like they did.
And I think that's something a lot to do with the fact that they're Sudbury. On the podcast, Dallin Wakely was talking about kind of the rivalry and the potential of this of these two playing in the playoffs, and he said like there's always a bit of rivalry when you see these two, and as Matt said at the beginning of this game, they've never played each other in the playoffs before since the Battalion have been in North Bay, which is just absolutely insane. It's just whenever North Bay is good, Sudbury just, they just don't meet, it's kind of like when you look at the Toronto-Montreal rivalry and you realize that they barely ever have seen each other in the playoffs in the last like 60 years or something like that, outside of the last time they played during the COVID season. So it's kind of crazy when you look at that, but I think it's going to make an amazing, even though Sudbury's not the strongest team this year, it's going to be scrappy, and it's going to be a very aggressive and very interesting series. But I love these kind of games because even though the Battalion are 6-1, especially at home, they've handedly won these games. On the road in Sudbury, though, Sudbury's made it, their only loss has come to Sudbury on the road. They've made it very close on the road. But I think it would be such a great series, and these games are so physical, and I expect it to be a really scrappy third period.
Tarasevich with his 5th shorthanded goal of the season, Battalion with 15 team shorthanded goals. That seems to be one of the pressure points for the North Bay Battalion. Not only are they near one of the top teams with shorthanded goals, they're currently still have been most of the season the top team on the penalty kill.
Yeah, and the reason that's why is because you have guys like Tarasevich. The reason he has 5 goals at this point in shorthanded is because of his speed. But if you look at it, if you go back and look at that goal, the Wolves don't have anybody back at all. They're all at the blue line. So as soon as Tarasevich picks up that puck on the neutral zone side of his own blue line, he's off to the races. There's nobody that can catch up with him, especially with his speed. We see this with Bloom a little bit on the penalty kill too, where his speed just allows him to create distance, and then he has such a great finish off against Broussard. And Tarasevich is a sneaky. That's why it's interesting that he's playing with Arnsby and Van Steetzl, and he's been playing on kind of that grinder line a little bit, on that aggressive line. But he brings a lot of speed, and he's a very kind of quick guy, very similar to Pasquale Zito at the same as that kind of very speedy guy that's very nimble and quick. And I think that's what makes him score so many shorthanded goals. He gets so many breakaway opportunities.
And it's funny, I was just thinking about that last comment you were talking about, playing with Arnsby and Van Steensel on that 4th line. When you look at those 3 players, those are your top 3 penalty killers, and they're all put together on one line. So it's interesting enough how Ryan Houlihan has those 3 together, almost like they are meant to be one of those grinding units, defensive shutdown units, and I think Houlihan might use them as that in the playoffs, and they've done an excellent job, and they capitalize shorthanded here tonight.
Well, I think you're right. Like, as you said, one of the things I love about that is what Liam Arnsby brings to the table, which is his physicality and his ability to kind of change the tide. And I love the fact, I love when he starts off games because he just kind of sets the tone for everybody. And Van Steetzel's kind of that guy who, he reminds me a lot of Anthony Romani, where I just think like he's taken a little bit of a step back this year, whereas Romani's taken a step forward in terms of point production if you look at his points from year to year. But I think he's become a much better two-way player, and I think he's become a much better defensive player as well. And I think with Van Steetzl, what he's showing is he's a guy who he's not going to score a lot of points, but what he's going to do is he's going to do a lot of the things right on the offensive and defensive side of the puck. And I think when you add that to what like Arnsby can bring to the table, and what Tarasevich can create some opportunities with his speed and some breakout opportunities, I just think that it's a great line. And especially if, even though it's a 4th line, they're not going to get 6 minutes a game, 7 minutes a game.
No.
They're going to play 15 minutes a game, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool how you have 4 lines that are all going to get 10 to 12 minutes a game almost. So it takes some time away from the top guys, but that's just because you have 12 really solid forwards all up and down your lineup.
Yeah, it's nice, a problem to have when you have 4 lines that could go out at any time, and Ryan Houlihan has that trust in all 4 of his lines. After the first period, we talked about how the Sudbury Wolves were happy to have only be down 1 goal on the road, knowing you got a short bench. You got a couple call-ups. You got 3 full call-ups in the lineup from forward. They didn't show a pushback in that second period at all. Is there a way, can you see the Sudbury Wolves making a push to get back into this game in the third?
It would be very surprising to see this game get tied. I'd be very surprised to see them put a 4, to have that number be 4 instead of 1. Do I think they can score a goal? Do I think they can make it tight? Yes. But with the way the Battalion have played defensively, with the way they play in third periods defensively, what they do so well is kind of what like an NFL team does, which is clock management. And that's for anybody who watches football, it's such a huge thing that people talk about is how do people manage the clock? How do you kill time? How do you do that? That's what the Battalion do in a hockey sense, is they take time off the clock. They'll put you in situations where they'll keep the puck in the corners. They'll keep the offense. I always talk about offense creating defense, and what they do is they create so much offensive pressure that you just don't get any shots on net. They've had 12 shots in this game so far. Charlie Robertson he's made a couple of great saves. He has not been tested very much. The Sudbury Wolves have not had a lot of offensive zone time. I would be very surprised to see them put more than maybe 1 goal past Robertson in this third period. Not saying it's a lock, but I think for folks at home looking at it, it's going to be very surprising if the Wolves make this a tight game. I think the Battalion did exactly what they needed to do, which was break apart and have a multi-goal lead going into the third.
Well, we'll have to see if that stays true, as it's the Battalion leading the Wolves 4-1 after 2 periods of play. When we return, Matt Sukram will rejoin Ben Sargent for all of your action here on the front line as it's Wolves Battalion this afternoon.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay, to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.
Welcome back. Matthew Sukram with you here alongside Ben Sargent. Puck has dropped and period number 3 is underway as North Bay lead 4-1. Puck is inside the North Bay zone and it's Zito battling on the near side boards. Now they go around behind the net. He gives up possession to Nelson. Nelson plays it back behind the net and it's sent down the near side boards to Bloom. Bloom back across to Nelson. Nelson out of the zone to Zito. Zito kicked it away at the Sudbury blue line and they are able to get it back into the neutral zone, but that one's knocked off the stick of Yearwood, and that allows Lucan to send it forward. Bloom drops it back to Zito. Zito tried to get it back up to Bloom, going towards the goal line. That didn't work, and now it's the Wolves going the other way. Mania in the zone, gets it across to the right side. Goyette sends it in front, deflects it, and it's in. Goyette send it up ahead to McCallum. And he made no mistake on that redirection. And all of a sudden, the lead is cut in half. It's 4-2.
Well, they're making me look bad because I just said it's going to be very hard for the Sudbury Wolves to find 3 goals in this period. And right off the gate, 53 seconds in, they find that they make a really nice pass. And the first, well, not the first time, but one of the first times that we see kind of a poor defensive play there from the Battalion, leaving a guy right in front of Robertson. And Robertson's save percentage not looking too good, but he's played really good hockey today. But unfortunately, 2 goals on 13 shots, and not much you can really do about that, but either way, it's all about the shutdown. You still have a 2-goal lead, and we talked about how good the Battalion are at managing the clock. That's going to be the goal for the next 19 minutes. But now the clock hasn't even started either, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, 19:07 is on the clock, and it's not running.
There is a delayed penalty now coming up to the Battalion, as now the clock starts to go, so this is going to get very interesting how they do this.
And neither coaching staff noticed.
Which is a big deal when you look at. Now they might go back and look at this.
Maybe Sudbury noticed, but they were going, well, the clock not running yet favors us. So
it looks like it'll be a high stick up against that's Tarasevich. But I feel like they're going to have to go back and look at this clock because that was at least like 20 to 30 seconds taken off. And that doesn't seem like a big deal, and I don't think it would have been a big deal, but now being a 2-goal lead, like.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think.
But we'll see.
The time really matters, and so the officials are chatting. The on-ice officials are chatting with the off-ice officials inside the penalty box area.
Very interesting that nobody even noticed. You think that Ryan Newland would be, but to be fair, they've got a lot going on, but you think somebody would say, hey, because I didn't even notice it until I realized the clock wasn't moving about like 20 seconds later.
Yeah, so they're going to have to take some time off of it. I just don't know how they assess exactly how much time there is. I guess they have to call upstairs and they have to rewind the footage and have a stopwatch.
Like a timestamp.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have timestamps at all, but I'm sure they do. Being
well, all they have to do is go back to when the goal was scored.
Yeah.
And then
see what the difference is.
See what it is.
They need you though because you got all the math today. You're like the math whiz. And then you can immediately say that was 46 and a half seconds. On the dot.
So if you're just joining us, it's a 4-2 lead for the North Bay Battalion. They had a 4-1 lead going into this period, but the Sudbury Wolves scored very quickly here. McCallum scored 53 seconds into the period.
And that's a big goal for Sudbury. If you're Sudbury, that's the best case scenario that you can do because now the idea is get a goal in the next, like they're on the power play now, get a goal in the next
before the halfway mark, and then you have the rest of the period.
18:45 is what they're changing the clock to.
So Tarasevich is in the box, I believe.
22 seconds.
I believe he said high sticking. Nicely
there you go.
done.
Look at that.
Nicely done.
I'm the math whiz now.
And you nailed it early on, too. You said that was probably about 20 seconds. Here's a shot from Goyette now, wide of the net. So just to recap, the Battalion are back on the penalty kill here. Puck at the line. Delich to the right side. Goyette shot comes in. It's blocked by Arnsby. Arnsby has had a tremendous game defensively for the North Bay Battalion. This is the fourth power play of the game for the Sudbury Wolves. They are 0 for 3 on the man advantage. McCallum coming in the zone, lost the puck. It's sent right back down the ice by Lukin.
And how interesting does this get if Sudbury can find a way to put the puck in the back of the net on this penalty kill? All of a sudden you go from being very comfortable to worried a little bit.
North Bay are 2 for 4 on their power plays today, and they've also got a shorthanded goal as well. So 3 of their 4 goals have come via the special teams. It's Delic with the puck. At the blue line to Goyette. Back to Delic at the right side. Feeds it to the slot. Bounces off the stick. Controlled by Lukin. And he sends it down the ice. And that was interesting. Lukin playing way up high in the slot area as the defender on that play as the Battalion are on the penalty kill. But either way, it worked as Lukin found the loose puck and just sent it down the ice. Back in the zone are the Wolves. Delic to the left side to Mania. Back to the point to Goyette. Mania back up high to Goyette. To the right side, Delic controlling the puck as it bounced around off his stick. He sends it back to the point. Goyette feeds it to the middle. McCallum to the left side. Mania shot comes in. It's stopped by Robertson. Picked up off the end boards and cleared down the ice. 17 minutes to go in the third period. North Bay ahead 4-2 and 10 seconds remaining in the penalty to Tarasevich.
And Goyette's the guy you got to worry about. 83 points in 59 games, 39 goals. Could be a potential teammate of Jackson and Nelson, as he's also a Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, Seattle went pretty OHL heavy in their, third NHL draft, I believe? 16:30 to go in the period as we're back to 5-on-5. Mania coming down the right wing side. There's a shot on net. Steered away by Robertson. It's kicked up to the blue line. Another shot comes in. That's off the shoulder of Robertson. Picked up by Winslow. And then Winslow is hemmed on the boards on the far side, and Sudbury just being super aggressive in the offensive zone, but North Bay are able to get the puck past them and send it down the ice. Turn it over right inside the blue line, and Sudbury come back the other way. On the far side boards, they're trying to get a pass across the zone. It doesn't work as North Bay plugs up the lane, and they send it down the ice. And that will be ice.
Well,
the official put his arm down just as it was crossing the goal line there. So Sudbury bring it right back down the other way. Tarasevich, as I said, back out on the ice. He's got control of the puck, sends it to the right side of the zone for Nelson. Nelson with 2 assists tonight has tied Mike Vernace as the Battalion all-time leader for points in a season by a defenseman. But he gives the puck to Lucan. Lucan almost gives it right away in front of the net to Konyan, but then they both fall down. But now Nelson, walking in the zone, feeds it in front, and it's off the stick of Procession, and then picked up by the Sudbury Wolves. 15-10 to go in the third period, as the Wolves do have to be conscious of the clock ticking away as North Bay just bring it up to the line and dump it down. But now it's Sudbury back in control in the offensive zone, looking for the puck in the slot. Christopoulos kicks it away, gets it to the stick of Tarasevich. Tarasevich down the ice, over the blue line, feeds it to the right side to Bloom. Shot coming in, he scores! Josh Bloom with his second of the night.
That must have hit off somebody, because that Broussard went to go side to side, and it looked like he didn't even realize it went through his. It must have hit a skate. Very hard to see from our angle, but that one surprised Broussard for sure. But what a huge goal for the Battalion. What a deflating feeling for Sudbury, who's been commanding the first 5 minutes of this hockey game. And the next thing you know, now they give up a 5-2 lead, and it just feels like everything he just fought for immediately go away.
For Josh Bloom, he will join the 30-goal club for the North Bay Battalion. Up there with Kyle McDonald, who also had a goal tonight. Bloom off the draw, coming in, looking for more as he gets the shot in on Broussard, but he makes the save. So it's Bloom with 30. Kyle Jackson has 30. Kyle McDonald has 34, and Dolan Wakely has 30 as well.
Yeah, Jackson with 31. Yeah, McDonald after today, 34. Wakely with 30. Wakely's kind of that surprising one, though. You don't think that Wakely's a 30-goal guy, but he's had one heck of a year, and I'm very excited to see what he'll do next season.
And I've been saying this all season long, I think he's a guy who gets looked at in the NHL draft this season.
It would be surprising if he
summer.
didn't, to be honest. The 47 points, not a lot of assists, but what he's been able to do on the wing, in center, you got to give a lot of credit to that guy. He's had an absolutely fantastic season.
If you're having almost a 50-point season and a third of those points are because of your goal scoring, I think...
Very similar to McDonald, right? Like, you look at McDonald, he has, what did we say there? He has 34 goals. Coming into this game, he had 33 goals, 17 assists, 50 points. Very similar kind of guy. Now, McDonald's played less games, obviously, as he's been injured for a good chunk of games, missing almost about 20. But, yeah, like, Wakely's not a goal scorer. Like, you don't think of him as a goal scorer, and yet here he goes.
And you can catch Dolan Wakely and equipment manager Mackenzie Campbell on this week's Frontline Podcast, hosted by Courtney Kenny and co-hosted by Ben Sargent this week. Available wherever you get your favorite podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe, and drop us a review as well. Here comes the Sudbury Wolves, playing it towards the North Bay net. Their shot goes wide, comes out to the neutral zone. Bromiak chases it down, plays it forward off the stick of Coughlin. Coughlin and Nelson going one-on-one. Nelson using the body, and both guys throwing shoulders at each other, and puck goes in the corner. Sudbury find it. They play it to the blue line. Shot comes in. It's off the post, and... no, they're calling it a goal.
Well, Coughlin is definitely went in the net. Coughlin has his arms up like he scored that one, so he must have tipped that one in as it goes right by Robertson. The crowd is not very happy about this goal. It looked clean from up here. We're going to see the replay. But, yeah, it looked like it just slipped by Robertson on the low glove side, and all of a sudden now it's 5-3.
So, yeah, that one was tipped by Coughlin on the other side of the ice. It was almost a shot pass across to him. So Robertson, again, in that chance, almost had no chance to even come across and make the save. It was just too quick.
Bill Holder, the assistant coach of the North Bay Battalion, is looking at the play on the iPad, seeing if they want to challenge it perhaps. But that opportunity is going to go by them.
Well, it looks like Arnsby got a little too happy on that face-off as he ran, before the puck was dropped, went into the Sudbury zone.
And so they will reset and drop the puck with Van Steensel in the middle. Now he gets waved out, and Tarasevic will go in. Arnsby to his right, Van Steensel to his left, and the Battalion win the draw, and they send it down the ice. All of a sudden, it's back to a 2-goal game. Sudbury have done what they've needed to do offensively. Unfortunately for them, they've also given one back, though. I mean, if they came in this period as they iced the puck and they said, we're going to score 2 goals before the period is 7 minutes old, they would have taken that.
And unfortunately for Charlie Robertson, he's given up 3 goals and 17 shots, but pretty much every one of those goals weren't really his fault. The first one was kind of a fluttering puck that went by his blocker. And then obviously that last goal was just a tip, and the second goal was just a cross-ice pass. He got no help from his defense. So Robertson having a really good game, even though it doesn't necessarily look at it from a save percentage standpoint. But as you said, how big was that Bloom goal now? Or else we'd be looking at a 1-goal game. And exactly what we said, 1-goal game with 13 minutes left, and now all of a sudden it gets interesting.
Arnsby with the puck in the neutral zone for the Battalion. Plays it back to his own blue line to Christopoulos. He feeds it across to Hislop on the near side, who bounces it off the boards to Tarasevic. Gets it down to left side of Van Steensel. Over the blue line, coming in, takes the shot, and that gets blocked. It's Robinson blocking that one. And the Wolves try to clear it. Arnsby stops it from the blue line. He sends it wide of the net in the corner. The Wolves pick it up, and it's going to be skated out with Conyon sending it down the ice. Conyon well behind the red line, though, when he made contact with the puck, and so that will be icing called against the Sudbury Wolves. So just a little bit of miscommunication there as they look to bring the puck out of the zone.
And you got to give a lot of credit to Sudbury as they're going into this third period. They're down 4-1. They've had a couple of opportunities where they could have just said, you know what, this game's out of reach, but they've been playing probably their best hockey in this period so far, and they came out, they scored very early, they scored 2 in this period, and all of a sudden it's become a 5-3 game, and every time it feels like the Battalion, they get a 5-2, they say, oh, this is it.
There's a shot going in from Nelson, and it's gloved down by the Wolves goaltender Broussard. Yeah, the North Bay Battalion, again, they've had success against the Sudbury Wolves this season. They're 6-1 against them. There's been some close games, though, with between these two clubs, with North Bay winning a couple games by just a single goal. But they've also now, this is the 5th game of their season series where North Bay has scored at least 5 goals.
Yeah, it seems like they either score 5 or more, or they just get maybe 2 or 3.
Nelson at the blue line. Takes a shot, gloved down by Broussard again. Yes, they beat Sudbury 5-2 on March 2nd in their last meeting. They beat them 5-1 in Sudbury on February 1st. They beat them 7-3 on December 28th and 7-4 on November 30th. So yeah, this is the 5th time that they scored at least 5 goals, the 3rd consecutive.
And we talk about this potential playoff match. It could be closer than people think. Yep. I don't think it would be a Battalion sweep. It could easily be a 6-7 game series. I don't know if it goes 7, but there's definitely no guarantee that the Battalion would win that series clean.
Coming out of the North Bay zone is Romani with control of the puck. He sends it down into the far side corner in the Sudbury zone. Helping him out, there's Procession. He feeds it to the line to Nelson. Nelson in the middle to Bloom. Bloom tried to just backhand it towards the net. That got stopped by Sudbury, and they bring the puck down the ice. Boudreau over the blue line. Tries to send it across the zone. That got deflected. Bloom has it. He sends it down the ice, and it'll roll right towards Broussard for the stoppage in play. 11:51 remaining in the third period.
And this is easily the best game I've seen Sudbury play this season so far, as it really feels like every time there's been a kind of a tight game, it wasn't necessarily Sudbury playing a very good game. It was more the Battalion not playing a good game and allowing the Sudbury Wolves to come back in. The Battalion have played a very good game in this hockey game. They've played really solid defensively. They've had their offensive chances, but you got to give a lot of credit to Sudbury for how they've been able to kind of match the Battalion, especially in the second half of this game.
3 goals on 17 shots. I think that says it right there. There's a shot from Wakely that's blocked by Broussard. Into the corner. Bloom with it. Down to the point to Winslow. That shot deflected wide. Zito at the side of the net takes a sharp angle shot. That gets stopped by Broussard. Zito in the faceoff circle tonight. 12 for 17, not counting that last faceoff.
Ridiculous.
That, I think, is a huge reason tonight for why the North Bay Battalion are ahead, starting with the puck that often when Zito is on the ice. with his line mate Bloom, who's got 2 goals tonight.
And it doesn't help that you don't have Quentin Musty, 73 points this season.
Now Coughlin bringing the puck down the ice, sends it on net, gets his own rebound, and he puts it in behind Robertson. All of a sudden, it's a 1-goal game as Sudbury come back to make it 5-4. And we talked about Coughlin quite a bit tonight. He's had a number of good chances. He finally gets one through.
Well, you look
that's a second goal.
Yes, second goal of the game.
Second goal of the game.
And now 9 on the season. He came into this game with 7 goals, 2 assists, and 9 points. He's going to walk away with 2 more goals. So he's not a big goal scorer. Again, another thing where Robertson, he makes the initial save, and there's no Battalion there to pick up the rebound or to stop Coughlin from getting that rebound. And look at Sudbury. They 40 minutes, they scored 1 goal. And in the last 9 minutes, they found the back of the net 3 times. And not because Charlie Robertson's given up a couple of easy goals. This has been a lot on just some poor defense from the Battalion. And again, it just feels like the Wolves are saying, hey, we're not done. And the Battalion kind of taking it for granted.
Like we said, this is a big game for the Sudbury Wolves when it comes to the postseason seedings. And Sudbury coming back in the zone. They put it on net. There's a chance, and it's cleared away by Christopoulos. It was loose in the blue paint, and Paul Christopoulos found it and sent it away. And now Christopoulos finds the puck again as he brings it all the way down the ice. Comes in on the left wing side, plays it to Hislop. Hislop feeds it down low, wide open chance, but the Battalion cannot bury it. Jackson was right there. He had Broussard beaten, but he could not redirect the puck towards the back of the net. 10:30 to play. It's a 5-4 game for the North Bay Battalion. Here comes Delic for the Sudbury Wolves. Down the right side. In the corner, they lose control of the puck as Petrov picks it up. Petrov, who's got a goal tonight already, brings it down the ice, takes a shot, that gets stopped. He'll try again, but it goes up high, off the netting, and over the glass and out of play with 10:10 to go in the third period.
Well, I'm not a superstitious man, but I feel like this is kind of on me. As I said, there's probably no chance of them finding 3 goals in the next 20 minutes, so kind of my fault. But to be fair, if you looked at the way that Sudbury played in this game, that was pretty easy to see. They have been a completely different team in the last 10 minutes, and you got to give them a lot of credit. They're playing for a team who has a lot on the line here, and all of a sudden, the Battalion, who kind of backed off a little bit, find themselves only up 1 goal.
Face off in the right side circle in the Sudbury zone. 10:09 to play.
And the last time that they had this kind of lead at home was against the Hamilton game, where they ended up blowing it, ended up losing in overtime because of a bad giveaway by Nelson and DiVincentis.
Van Steensel in the middle, cannot win the draw. Sudbury get it out. No, it's stopped at the blue line by Nelson, who takes a huge hit. And then the puck is sent out of the zone. Lukin has control of it in his own end. Across to Nelson. Nelson gives it away to Yearwood. Yearwood holding it on the boards, but Nelson throws a hit. Sudbury regain possession, though, behind the net. Play to the far side. Trying to send to line. They turn it over at the blue line as Tarasevic gets it out, sends it up ahead to Van Steensel, and Van Steensel dumps it down. Sudbury whip it around the boards. They get it out to the neutral zone. McCallum down the left wing for Boudreau. Boudreau drops it back to Collins. He tried to play it down the middle. That gets poked away by the Battalion defense. Now there's a big scramble for it. Puck up to the right side. Boudreau in the slot. McCallum's shot is stopped, and the rebound is right on the doorstep, but cleared away by Arnsby, and then sent out of the zone by North Bay.
And I know that we're getting into the mid-period break very soon, but it almost wouldn't shock me if Houlihan decides to call a timeout pretty soon as, the momentum really shifting in Sudbury's way. The Battalion looking very, very frazzled out there.
In the neutral zone, Sudbury chip at it. They dump it in. Winslow is chasing. He's got it behind the net. Sends it to the right side. Lines is there, trying to break up that play. Lines behind the net, battling with Winslow. Good little scrum back there. It goes to the far side boards for Romani. He can't get it out. Gets control of it in the corner. Dishes it around the near side boards. Picked up there by Brostowski. And he chips it off the glass and sends it down the ice. Sudbury from their own zone will regroup. Coughlin turns it over in the neutral zone. North Bay get it back, but they play it behind their own blue line. Sent around to the near side boards. Brostowski chasing it. Sends it up the middle for Zito. Zito makes a move, comes in the zone, tries to drop it to the left side boards to Romani, but getting in the way was Villeneuve of the Wolves, and he forces the turnover and is able to get the puck out to the neutral zone. Christopoulos there for North Bay. He dumps it right back in. 7:56 to play in the third period. 5-4 North Bay lead. They've scored once this period. Sudbury has scored 3 times. Sudbury holding the puck behind their own net. And now they'll bring it out with Robinson leading the way. Down the left wing at the center line. He stops and plays it back behind his own blue line to Mania. Mania up ahead to Goyette at their own blue line. Goyette being pressure coming out through the neutral zone. Gets it down the left wing for Delich, coming in with speed. Tries to feed it through the slot, but that one is stopped. Picked up behind the net by Van Steensel. Plays it to the middle to Christopoulos. Out to the neutral zone. Delich forces the turnover. Here he comes to the left side of the shot. Scores! Goyette ties this game at 5. Sudbury with the comeback. Complete.
Well, again, I don't know what Derek McKenzie, head coach of the Sudbury Wolves, said to them in that period, but really what happened was they've just come out so aggressive in this period. They're not allowing the Battalion any time, and that's what you need to do. The Battalion are sitting back on their heels here a little bit. They're trying to play defensive hockey, and that's not the style that makes them a winning team. They need to be on the offense. They need to be continuing to play the game that they did in the first 2 periods, and they haven't been doing that. Sudbury is now getting that confidence. They're able to set up their plays. We've seen David Goyette, again, a guy who's more than a point-per-game player who finds the back of the net, and all of a sudden, this isn't a Charlie Robertson issue at this point. This is a Battalion. This is the way the Battalion are playing, and really not giving Charlie any help.
40th goal of the season for Goyette. There's a shot, and Robertson makes the save. And that is where we will take our break. 5-5 with 7 minutes to play in the third.
This period is brought to you by Canada Alumni Perks. Get information on special events and news, or access the Alumni Job Portal. Visit canadacollege.ca/perks for more information.
Tonight's 3 Stars is brought to you by Dave's Automotive Services, 411 Airport Road in North Bay. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect from Dave's.
And we will send things downstairs to Derek. And Derek, I think the 3 stars has changed in this one based on the results of this third period here. The Sudbury Wolves have outscored the Battalion 4-1, and we're now tied at 5.
Yeah, definitely. This media timeout couldn't come at a better time for the North Bay Battalion. Houlihan's got to find a way to get his troops to refocus and find a way to get back into it. This is where you're going to miss the big body of Kyle McDonald as he left the game in the second period. It'd be interesting if they had him now in that lineup. He could be a difference maker. Battalion need a way to find a way to get some momentum generated here to get that go-ahead goal again here late in this third period.
Thanks, Derek. 7 minutes to go in the third. 5-5. First time it has been tied since it was scoreless.
Well, and the crazy thing, though, is this might be the biggest, the worst third period the Battalion have played in terms of giving up goals.
There's a shot towards the net. Robertson has to punch it out of the air to the far side as Villeneuve ripped one in coming over the blue line, but the Wolves have control of it. Villeneuve at the line to the left side. Robinson's shot comes in just wide of the net. Picked up by Bloom on the near side. Bloom flips it out down the ice. It gets onto the stick of Wakely. Wakely over the left wing side. Drops it back to Nelson. Nelson tries to feed it to Wakely. It's off his skate, and it goes into the corner where Bloom finds it. Bloom sends it to the point to Winslow. Across to the right side to Nelson. Nelson takes a shot. That is stopped with Villeneuve diving in front of it to block it, and that allows Sudbury to pick up the puck with Mania in the neutral zone. He turns it over. It's Jackson coming in with Petrov. Jackson takes a shot, and it's slid away by the goaltender Broussard, and now they're going to call a hand pass after that. So not only is this a big game for the Sudbury Wolves, but now all of a sudden, with a game tied at 5, the Battalion are in danger of potentially losing their Central Division lead, with the Barrie Colts just 2 points behind them.
Yeah, they need to find, basically the magic number is 2. Any combination of wins or Barrie losses will basically get them there. And you look at them playing, and the tough thing is when you look at the first 40 minutes, it's so easy to say this is a North Bay win. You got to give a lot of credit to Sudbury in this third period. This was not Charlie Robertson giving up 4 bad goals. This was Sudbury scoring 4 hard-fought wins.
And it's Sudbury inside the zone. Collins down to Delic, who's been dangerous all night. Delic in behind the net. A goal and assist. He sends it to the point. Right in on net. Robertson is on his backside looking for the puck, and it's under him, and the whistle will go with 5:30 to play in the third period. It's 5-5. Now, you mentioned the magic number for wins is 2, but in points it's 4.
Yep.
So even if North Bay can push this to overtime, then at least they're picking up a point to maintain that lead somewhat over the Barrie Colts, but that's not how you want to earn
16 minutes ago, we would not be saying
That's it.
push this thing to overtime.
That's it.
This has been a big collapse for the Battalion, and again, it's not, I want to make this very clear. It's not Charlie Robertson. This is a defensive. This is a game. This is just a game where their defense has just been giving up way too many opportunities, and they haven't been playing their style. If you look at, if I told you one of these teams is 7th in the league and one of these teams is 2nd in the conference, and you looked at it, you'd probably say, hey, the Battalion are 7th. That's the way they're playing right now. They're not playing like a second-place team.
First time this season that the Sudbury Wolves have scored more than 4 goals in a game against the North Bay Battalion in the head-to-head matchups, and that was all the way back on November 30th in their first meeting. Sudbury's been held to 3 goals or less in the ensuing 6 games.
Yeah, depending on how this shakes out, I'm very interested to see what Ryan Houlihan says after this game. Even if the Battalion end up getting a goal here in regulation and winning it, I'm sure he's not going to be too happy with his last 20-minute performance.
North Bay get it out of the zone and send it down the ice. But it's picked up quickly by the Sudbury Wolves. They send it back out to the neutral zone. Arnsby, McCallum battle for it. It gets kicked over the North Bay blue line. Chasing it behind the net is Boudreau for Sudbury. He gets knocked into the boards, and the Battalion had a chance to get the puck. They lost sight of it, and now Sudbury behind the net try to feed it underneath the pads of Robertson. The whistle's goal as Robertson has control of it, but now a lot of pushing and shoving going on at the net. And that's the other thing that's changed in this third period is the animosity has completely deflated up until this play right here. Sudbury has maintained their discipline.
And I think that's the message going into that period was, hey, we're not out of it. And now all of a sudden a playoff series between these two is very intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah.
All of a sudden it goes from being like, we look at we come in pre-game, you see Quentin Musty's not playing, Alex Ferran's not playing. They don't have some of their bigger, tougher guys in Touré and Lamarck. And all of a sudden they find a way to tie this game up. And obviously they still have Delic. Coughlin comes out of nowhere and gets 2 goals in this hockey game. It's just one of those games too where
Arnsby got slashed in the face-off circle before the puck was even dropped. And the officials just let it go. Wow. Yeah, there's about 3,000 plus.
Well, you talked about animosity. There might be a little bit more.
Yeah.
But if you're the Battalion, you got to be very careful that
you have to be.
You don't want to give them a power play, especially if you're Arnsby.
Delic bringing the puck into the Sudbury's into the North Bay zone. A shot comes in towards Robertson, and he makes the save there. And some more pushing and shoving going on after the whistle. And Arnsby.
Yep.
And I'm not sure which Sudbury player it was, but they basically tackled each other on the blue paint. Hislop has Goyette in a headlock.
They're going to the box. I know that he already mentioned that Arnsby's going off. I want to say
it looks like Delic.
Yeah. And the thing is, again, and we've seen Arnsby do this before, and this is where as a captain you've got to be like, okay, I know you got slashed, it sucks, but and again, these guys are young, so yeah, they're gonna be a little bit more emotionally charged. But the big thing is it's going to be 4-on-4 hockey. Is you can't let this happen. If you're Arnsby, you've got to be the bigger person in this situation. As Delic and Arnsby are still jawing at each other in between as they're both in their respective penalty boxes. So it's going to be 4-on-4 for the next 2 minutes, and there's only 4:17 left in this game. 5-5. We'll see what happens. It's not been a good period for the Battalion. You cannot afford to lose this game in regulation. Especially coming off a 7-game win streak, this is a game that you've got to find a way to win.
Yeah, a lot on the line for North Bay in terms of those kind of semantics, right?
Yeah. Again, it's all about momentum going into that playoffs. You don't want to have this game. You want to say, okay, we had a bad 16 minutes. Let's figure it out.
So like you said, 4-on-4 with 4 minutes to play now in the third period. 5-5 the score. It's Nelson at the line, across the left side to Petrov, in the middle, Jackson, his shot gets blocked. The puck comes down to the point to Nelson, to the left side, Jackson, fires it in, and Brassard makes the stop. That is going to be his 35th save of the game.
And it's interesting because our players to watch were the goaltenders, right? And
You're
even though
right.
it's a 5-5 game and you say, well, that was kind of a mistake, both goaltenders have been really good in this hockey game. A lot of these goals have been kind of outside, have been more their defense letting them down and stuff that's outside of their control. Not saying that they haven't made some of them have made the great plays, but they haven't made the absolutely insane saves, but they've been really solid in net. And not what you would think when 10 goals have found the back of the net for each team combined, I should say.
3:40 to play as Sudbury win the draw in their own zone. And looking down the right side boards is Collins. Couldn't find a lane to get it out, turns back, and now he's got space. Sends it to the far side, and now it's up ahead to Goyette. Goyette makes a move, gets over the blue line, goes in, takes a shot, and the save is made by Robertson. 3:23 to play in the third period. 5-5 the score with 1:06 remaining in the penalties to Arnsby and Delic.
Well, Delic obviously is one of the best goal scorers right now with Quentin Musty out. So having only Goyette on the ice, he's going to be the guy you have to shut down because he has that shot that could find the back of the net. And at this point, you're almost playing for overtime at this point just to get at least 1 point, as both teams would be very happy with just that.
Erdl coming up to the left side blue line, feeds it across to the right side to Zito. Zito going in, almost gets taken out of the play. Now he's pushed down from behind, still maintains puck possession. He gets back up, trying to control the puck, but the Sudbury defenders finally get it away from him, and they break out of the zone. Down the far side, they come in over the blue line offside on that play with 40 seconds remaining in the penalties, 2:57 remaining in the period. 5-5 the score here in the third.
Yeah, and this is going to be a very interesting finish here, as again the Battalion have not put a lot of shots on Brassard in this period. They've not had a lot of offensive zone pressure, and that's been the biggest deal, is they've allowed Sudbury to have so many shots on over 16 shots in this period on Charlie Robertson, which is just way too many to give up.
16-7 in the third period in that category for the Sudbury Wolves.
Remember when he had 12 shots against after 40 minutes?
Collins coming back down the right wing side, stops on the boards. Now he goes into the corner, stops there, turns back, looking to the blue line, skates to the middle, sends it to the right side. Anania plays it to the near side boards. Not sure which player had it there for Sudbury, but Nelson almost stepped, or basically kneed him in the back.
He almost got a high stick call against him too, as he got his stick up on.
And now it's back to 5-on-5 as Nelson brings it through the neutral zone. He's going to put on the Jets here. Nelson driving down the right side, sends it on net. It goes wide, feeds it in front. Arnsby was right there, could not handle the pass. And now it comes out with Villeneuve leading the charge. Takes a shot, and it just gets a piece of the pads of Robertson and kicked wide of the net. Now it's Mania with it. Sends it on net, deflected by Delic, and it goes wide. Played by the Battalion off the boards and down the ice. 1:50 to play in the third period. It is 5-5. Puck on the far side boards, in behind the net. Mania's there. Looking down the right wing, plays it across to the far side in the neutral zone. North Bay get control of it, and they slap it as it gets dumped in to the Sudbury end as Tarasevich is there. Can't hold on to the puck as Goyette has it now, and he gets it down the right wing for Mania. Mania over the blue line, feeds it to the middle. Yerwood in front to Goyette, dangles, and he's denied. What a save by Robertson to basically save this game for the time being for the North Bay Battalion.
Again, we talk about, as there's a little bit of a scrum after that play, again, we talk about Robertson. He's given up 5 goals in this game, but he has been very, very good. He's had about 5 or 6 really almost highlight reel saves in this period, which has been absolutely insane. But that, as you said, Yearwood almost gives it a 6-5 and almost completes the comeback. But man, Charlie Robertson standing tall yet again, and he's had such a good game here. Again, both goaltenders have really kept it in. This game, this kind of this 4-goal period is entirely on the way that the Battalion defense and offense has played in front of Charlie Robertson here this afternoon. And now we're about a minute 20 away from overtime if they keep it tied.
Face-off won by the Battalion in their own zone, and they will play it out. Collins stops it just behind the North Bay blue line, and now he'll move forward, but he goes offside. as I believe it was Delic on the far side that wasn't able to get over the line. 5-5 the score. 1:12 remaining in the third period. And North Bay again.
It's crazy to think 20 minutes ago it was a 4-1 game.
Yep.
We were probably saying this is going to be an easy one. Then they made it 5-2, and you're like, okay, well, there goes that. Got to give so much credit to Sudbury for playing such a good game and really putting it on the Battalion.
It was 4-1 going into the period, and they've outscored the Battalion 4-1
in this period.
Van Steensel behind the net. Sends it to Nelson, now to Lukin. Up ahead to Tarasevich, coming down the left wing side. Tarasevich over the blue line. Tarasevich sends it on net. It's a shoulder save made. Rebound chance coming in from Nelson. And it's stopped by the goaltender Broussard. Wow, Nelson really reared back on that one. And it was accurate, too.
That's what he does, right? That's his bread and butter. It'll be very interesting to see when he gets to the National Hockey League how that shot translates into the NHL. But man, he's got such a good, accurate shot from the point. It reminds me a lot of like the Sheldon Surrays and the the Chris Prongers and the Andrew Ferences back when he was with Calgary.
And the crazy thing is he's not as tall as any of those guys.
He's a relatively short guy.
Villeneuve to McCallum, coming over the blue line. Sudbury in control with 34 seconds. They dump it into the corner. Lukin tries to play it out. He gets hit in the corner, and Boudreau finds the puck. He kicks it back along the end boards, and Arnsby has it. Arnsby for North Bay dishes it around to the far side to Tarasevich. He drops it back in the corner for Nelson, who overskates the puck. He gets it back and sends it into the near side corner for Lukin. Lukin battling with Bouchard again. Check that, Boudreau on the near side, and now it's Arnsby who has it. Arnsby sends it down the right side with 5 seconds to go on the dump in. And this game is going to end in regulation tied at 5.
Yeah, it can't be a happy camper if you're Ryan Ulan and the Battalion right now. It's just a very bad 20 minutes that they played. It didn't start out bad. They ended up scoring a goal. It was 5-2, but basically 15 minutes of that period was just them on their heels. And Charlie Robertson, unfortunately, is giving up 5 goals and 29 shots. He does not deserve that, as he made a beautiful save on Yearwood to save this game for the Battalion and get them at least 1 point. So now the magic number in points is 3. But at the end of the day, though, you got to kind of feel bad for Charlie Robertson. And yes, there have been games where, he's kind of given up the goals, and he might have, quote-unquote, lost the game for the Battalion. But this is one of those games where he definitely was not the problem here.
Landon McCallum scored 53 seconds into the third period. That made it a 4-2 game. Josh Bloom scored 5:09 to make it 5-2 North Bay, and it's been all Sudbury on the score sheet since then. Coughlin at 6:18. Coughlin again at 8:47. Goyette at 12:47 to tie the game, and that's where we are right now. 5-5, and we're about to go into overtime.
With Sudbury having all the ice tilted in their favor at this point, and this is where it's kind of interesting. Yes, the Battalion on paper are better in this kind of format where it's only going to be, I believe, 3-on-3 for the next 5 minutes. But we've seen all the speed and they have, but we also saw how they played against Hamilton when they kind of lost that momentum. They played kind of sloppy, and right now, if you're Sudbury, just keep the pressure on. You found a way to find a point somehow in this game coming into this third period 4-1. If you're Derek McKenzie, you have to be over the moon with how your team has played.
Absolutely, and now here's the interesting thing. They switch ends, so on the line change, they're closer to the offensive side, and that plays a big factor in overtime, doesn't it?
And it's hard to say who's gonna come out on top. I could see Sudbury coming in and getting a goal in the first minute. I could see the Battalion doing the same. I think right now it's a 50-50 of who's going to get this too, but I would be surprised if this thing goes to a shootout. So that would be exciting.
Arnsby, Tarasevich, and Christopoulos out there for the Battalion. Delic, Goyette, and Mania for the Wolves, and that's been the big line. Minus Coughlin, I guess.
Yeah. He's had a game.
Tarasevich off the draw, brings it all the way to his own net. Now he sends it down the ice for Arnsby, going one-on-one into the zone. Arnsby down the right side. Overskates the puck as he went to the goal line, and it's taken away by Mania. Now it's Goyette coming down on the left wing side. Feeds it in front. Delic is right there, but he cannot get a shot off as he basically overskates the puck. and it's covered up easily by Robertson.
What I find interesting is they kind of go, Ryan Uland starts things off with a more defensive approach, giving Arnsby, well, Tarasevic gives you that speed, but Christopoulos, Arnsby, now you see Nelson coming out on the ice, Petrov, Jackson. Very interesting how he goes defensive versus the more offensive line for Sudbury, as now Sudbury also goes for a change.
I think that was because of the personnel that was on the ice for the Sudbury Wolves, right?
Their thought was keep the goal out of it. We don't necessarily need to score one, and now with McCallum and Collins and Villeneuve out there, they're going to try and go for a goal.
And North Bay win the draw. Jackson chips it back behind the net for Nelson. Nelson looking down the right wing side.
Expect Nelson to start this drive right here.
And Villeneuve is already off the ice. He was just out there to try to win the draw. Villeneuve, check that. Nelson drops it back to Petrov, coming in over the blue line, down the left wing side. Petrov behind the net. He's got a goal already tonight. Down the right wing side now. He leaves it at the blue line for Nelson. Nelson puts on the brakes at the boards, and now he'll skate to the middle. Sends the pass across to Jackson. He'll skate behind the net. Jackson lost it, gets it back, and he has to play it out of the zone to Nelson because there were two guys pressuring Jackson at that area. Now it's back up ahead to Nelson, coming in on the right side. Nelson drops it back for Petrov at the boards. Petrov skates into this corner, sends it back in the high slot for Nelson. Nelson looking to take a shot. That's deflected by McCallum, but it's behind the net for Petrov. He sends it back to the right side to Nelson. Nelson out of the blue line. To the left side, it's Jackson. Jackson will skate out of the zone with it, and in the neutral zone, he's dropping all the way back. Now he turns, and he's going to look to go down the left wing side. Now over the middle, over the blue line. Down the far side, he falls down, going towards the goal line, gets back up, chips at the puck, but it's still on the stick of Collins as he brings it out to the neutral zone. Collins goes over the blue line offside. 3:07 remaining in the overtime period. 4-4 the score.
Well, it lasted longer than the Hamilton game so far. It's been a little bit different, but man, isn't Ty Nelson the absolute perfect defenseman for 3-on-3?
Yep.
A guy who basically can play it's almost like having three forwards out there, but you still have the defensive prowess of a defenseman in there. So love seeing Ty Nelson getting really being able to show off what he can do 3-on-3.
North Bay win the draw, and Bloom going in on a 2-on-1 with Hislop. Bloom shoots, scores! It's a hat trick for Josh Bloom! It's all about the boom, baby! As the Battalion win it 6-5, and the magic number to clinch the Central Division is down to just 2 points. The Battalion beats Sudbury on Sunday afternoon.
Well, what a thriller coming into that third period. I don't know if you should feel happy about this or still kind of upset about the fact that you had such a bad third period, but Bloom at least puts a nice cap on it. And kind of a best of both worlds for Sudbury. Coming into this game, you knew getting 2 points would be hard. You'll take the 1 point that you were able to grind out in that third period, but Josh Bloom sends the fans home happy on this Sunday afternoon as he pulls off the hat trick. And we talked about how he struggled to score goals, but man, he loves playing Sudbury, and you see why right there as he puts another multi-goal game up against the Wolves.
Yeah, for Josh Bloom, that's going to be 8 goals against the Wolves in 9 games played this season. 3 of them tonight. He's now over the 30-goal mark. And the the Vancouver Canucks prospect now, as his rights were traded earlier on the season. He is the man of the hour for the North Bay Battalion. 2 goals in the last 65 minutes, the last 25 minutes of this game. He scored 5:09 in the third to give the Battalion their 5th goal of the game. He scores 2:01 in the overtime period to give the Battalion the 6-5 win. And we'll check in with your Dave's Auto 3 stars of the game in the post-game show. Ben Sargent will have the post-game show for you. I'll head down to talk to head coach Ryan Olahan. Anything you think I should ask him going into this?
Yeah, what's going on in that third period? I would actually, it's very interesting to see how happy is he with this game considering that third period happened, but they still ended up getting the point. I think it's going to be interesting to see what he says, but I kind of already have an idea of what he's going to say too.
All right, well, that wraps it up for myself. I want to thank you for joining in. Don't forget, post-game show coming up right after this. You're watching the Frontline broadcast right here on YouTube, presented by Average Joe's.
Average Joe's Eatery and Patio Bar is North Bay's only year-round lakefront restaurant. On the shores of beautiful Trout Lake, we have been serving delicious food and stunning views since 1999. Indulge in one of our delicious menu items or simply sit with a cocktail in hand and watch the beauty of Trout Lake before your eyes. Check us out online at averagejoes.net or visit us in person at 3501 Trout Lake Road, North Bay.
As a Canadore College alumni, you have access to perks. Canadore Alumni Perks. This is a lifetime membership that includes special access to great offers, opportunities to get involved, and so much more. Graduates can access discounts and special offers from businesses and hotels locally, across Canada, and internationally. Get information on special events and news, or access the alumni job portal. Keep in touch with Canadore's alumni office. Visit canadorecollege.ca/perks. Great things happen here.
You rely on your vehicle to take you to the places that matter most to you. So bring your vehicle to the team you can rely on to keep it running at its best. Dave's Automotive Services. Whether you're getting your car or truck ready for the season with a tire change, making sure you're safe on the road with an inspection and certification, or doing your due diligence to keep your vehicle in tip-top shape with regular maintenance, Dave's Automotive Services has you covered. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect when you bring your car or truck to Dave's Automotive Services at 411 Airport Road. Call 705-478-5544 and book your appointment today.
The Frontline Podcast, Season 3. Courtney Kenny, Matthew Sukram, Derek Lindemann, Bob Coles, and Ben Long bring you closer to your favorite teams like never before. Covering everything to do with hockey in the North Bay area, exclusive interviews with the North Bay Battalion staff and players, expert analysis on the OHL, NOJHL, and more, keeping you up to date on all things Voodoos, Trappers, Lakers, and more. It's a new season, it's a new adventure. The Frontline Podcast Season 3. Available wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Tonight's 3 Stars is brought to you by Dave's Automotive Services, 411 Airport Road in North Bay. Expert troubleshooting, quality repairs, and time-efficient labor are the 3 stars of service you can expect from Dave's.
Well, we welcome you back here to Memorial Gardens for the post-game show, as it was an absolute thriller. Going into this period, it was 4-1 Battalion. Sudbury comes back to tie things up 5-5, and then it was, of course, Josh Bloom scoring the overtime winner to secure the hat trick to give the Battalion a 6-5 game, and a game that was a lot closer than I think they thought it would be heading into that third period. The 3 stars of today's game is number 3 was Pasquale Zito, who picked up 2 assists in the game. Number 2 is Ty Nelson, who also picked up 2 assists, and Josh Bloom with the hat trick and was a +2 on the day, the number 1 star, so all 3 stars from North Bay. For the scoring summary in the third period, it was Landon McCallum who opened the scoring from Goyette and Matthew Mania at the 53-second mark of the third period. Josh Bloom then made it 5-2 with his second of the game, assisted by Tarasevich and Paul Christopoulos at 5:09. And then it was 3 straight goals by the Sudbury Wolves. Chase Coughlin scores his 8th of the season, assisted by Audrey Anina and Nathan Valnew. And then, of course, Coughlin scored again, and that was at the 6:18 mark. And then just about 2 minutes later at the 8:47 mark, Coughlin scores his 2nd of the game, his 9th of the year, from Mark Boudreau. David Goyette then tied it up, assisted by Delic at 12:47 of the third period. And then, of course, Josh Bloom at the 2:01 mark of overtime from Hislop and Zito picks up the game-winning overtime goal. The total shots were 43-30 in favor of the Battalion. They were outshot 17-9. Sudbury with the 17 shots in the third period. Shots were 1-1 apiece in overtime. On the power play, the Wolves were 0-4, and the Battalion were 2-4. So as we look at the week coming ahead, their next action will be against Hamilton as the Bulldogs come to town with 3 games left on their schedule, as the Bulldogs will be playing here Thursday night. Game time starts at 7 o'clock, 7:07 puck drop with a 6:50 start here on the Frontline YouTube channel. They are then on the road on Saturday in Niagara before finishing it off. Next Sunday will be their final home game against the Mississauga Steelheads. Again, that is the same 2:07 puck drop and 1:50 p.m. start time as always. So it's the Battalion picking up a crucial 2 points, the magic number now down to 2. If Barrie loses any of their next games, or if the Battalion win any of their last 3, they will clinch the Central Division and the 2nd spot in the conference and be guaranteed to play the 7th place in the first round of the playoffs as they pick up the 6-5 overtime win here. So for everybody here, for Derek Lindemann and Matt Sukram and our producer Ben Long, I am Ben Sargent saying have a great rest of your afternoon. It's the Battalion 6-5 in overtime. As always, keep your eye on the front line.
Meals are a special time for families to gather, share their day, and spend quality time together. Those dinners are made extra special when you add tropical produce found in the markets and grocery stores that carry La Huerta imports. La Huerta knows the importance of family, so they know which quality products make the best quality meals for your customers, whether it be Mexican Hass avocados, Brazilian figs, Ecuadorian red dragon fruit, or something just as exotic and special. To get your supply of the best tropical produce at competitive prices with brands buyers trust, contact La Huerta Imports at 705-752-1478.
Community engagement is one of our core focuses at McDonald's. The key is finding the right people who are passionate about the same things we are, helping kids be kids. McDonald's proudly supports local organizations such as the North Bay Regional Health Center Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, One Kids Place, the Children's Aid Society, and Ronald McDonald House Charities. Stop by McDonald's on 1500 Fisher Street, North Bay to see how we can serve you and the community every day.
Hey there, I'm Mike the Financial Advisor. When you strip it down to its core and you take away all the industry jargon, I help people solve financial concerns. So if you're concerned that you'll never save enough to retire comfortably, or that your kid is going to graduate post-secondary $40,000 in debt, or maybe even that life is going to take a really unfortunate sideways turn and somebody is going to have to open a GoFundMe page for you and your family, I can help you prevent all of those things from happening. If you want to see how, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Just do a search for Mike the Financial Advisor. You should find me.